Okay, welcome everybody once again. This is our little soiree, Conspiracy or Not, Here We Come. I am Aaron. I am joined with Amy at the moment, the lovely Amy. Hi, Amy.
How's it going?
We are pleased to welcome back TheBartomon. How you doing, Bart?
Doing really well, Aaron. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I want to let everybody know that Ian will be joining us in about an hour, hour and a half-ish. He had something that he had to take care of and he couldn't get out of. It might be that felony criminal case or something. That's a joke. I have no idea, really. Anyway, it's Friday. It is November 10th. So that's, let's see, 10, 11, 10, 10, if you like the numbers, right? So...
yeah.
So there we are. Listen, I was absent last week. I was out of town. I really wanted to come and hang out and talk to Bart. He indicated that he was just scratching the surface and somewhere in one of the comment threads. And so we're pleased to have him back. And I also want to let everybody know that we are waiting patiently for Henry from Death to Life. He should be joining us sometime soon as well. We gave him the link. Henry, if you're listening, if you're in the chat, the link is in your messages on your YouTube messages. So go there to get the link. And so that's that. How has everybody been?
Well, I've been hanging out and surviving, managing to, at any rate.
Bart, obviously, you are aware, but others are not. But we've been chatting with Bart an awful lot on Skype lately. And really, really interesting guy. He's an artist. He's a graphic designer, soon to be YouTube truther. I understand he's going to start using his channel for more proactive purposes. He's got a website. The website is bartomon.com, right? Bartomon, B-A-R-T-O-M-A-N or O-N?
M-O-N.
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 So your website is bartomon.com. You can find his geometrical sacred geometry renderings over there. You can find some of his artwork over there. Pretty cool website. I was checking that out last week. So I'm pleased to have you back, Bart. What you been up to lately?
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, really pleased to be back. I was psyched to do the show last week, and I was certainly hoping to be invited back, and I didn't expect to be invited back so soon, and so glad that it worked out. Really glad to be back. Really glad to get into some stuff. So
yeah. Like I was saying, you know, you're a really, really interesting guy. I like what you're into. We have a lot of things in common: music, art. Obviously, you know, you're a bit of a researcher yourself, right? You're very well versed in the conspiracy and the overall big picture. So I'm pleased to have you back. I finally had a chance to listen to last week's show. I've got just a small handful of notes, a couple of things that you guys discussed that I might have want to, you know, mull over a little further and add my own input to it. But to start off, what I usually do is spend the first 20 or 30 minutes going over some of the what I've recently dubbed the news of the insane. You know, it's just stuff that catches my eye, you know, noteworthy things, you know, in the news that catch my eye or ear. And so, you know, one of the things, you know, you hear a lot a lot of people online will say things like, he's a shill, right? If you try to mention, I listen to this guy, or I pay attention to this guy, or I got my information from this guy, it's pretty common to hear somebody pipe up at some point and say, oh, he's a fucking shill, blah, 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 right? Well, I tell you what, and I asked you in Skype, have you had a chance to look at OPM? A couple days ago, I mentioned that to you.
I have not.
Okay. Well, OPM is something that we talk about fairly frequently around here. That's online persona management. Okay. This is in the NDAA, most recently signed back into law by Obama in 2012. Embedded within that law is not only the Smith-Mund Act, which was pulled, right? So now it's legal to propagandize the people, right? Embedded within the NDAA is something called OPM, which is online persona management. That is where the U.S. military can now legally create up to 10 sock puppets, online sock accounts per U.S. military personnel. Now, that doesn't mean each service member is sitting in front of a computer. It means that somewhere there's an office and there might be 100 people or 100 sock accounts assigned to one, computer geek, but they are now legally allowed to create and manage 10 sock accounts per U.S. military personnel. That's online persona management. So when you hear people talk about paid trolls, that's no shit. And it's paid with our tax dollars, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Anyway, you hear people say online that, oh, he's a shill and that person's a shill. I listen to Jimmy Church fairly frequently. I like Jimmy. I like his interview style. I like his guests, and I like the information I get in many cases. A lot of times it's entertainment based, but occasionally there's good information. But I just want to put this out there that I did get this information from Jimmy Church. It's absolutely true. Online persona management is the first place I heard it was Jimmy Church. So there you go. Just because, Jimmy might be a shill. He might spend a lot of time, talking up with Corey Good, who I think is a complete freaking shill. You know what I mean? And he won't call him out, right? He'll hang out with Corey Good. He'll hang out with David Wilcock. But this is all irrelevant, man. I don't care if it's Alex Jones. I don't care if it's an evangelical Christian. I'll take truth wherever I can find it.
Exactly. If you get truth, take that truth, and as Mark from Global Agenda says, chew the meat, spit out the bones.
And I heard you say something similar to that, Bart. Just we were talking on Skype, right? Or actually, you were talking. No, in fact, if I remember, it was you guys talking on last week's show. Now I'm getting a little bit confused.
Yeah, it's hey, I think confusion is the name of the game, and busting through the confusion is the name of the game on the other side, right? So inducing confusion and then wading through the confusion and finding clarity and sanity. So I think I proposed the phrase to attach to the show, reclaiming sanity. I think that's a really nice mantra for all of us in these days and times. And although I wasn't connecting the OPM, I'm sorry, OMP or OPM, I wasn't connecting that acronym, but I am familiar with the concept, and I actually think now I'm getting I got the information from you from a couple episodes back, that specific thing about the 10 sock puppet accounts. Yeah, this is no surprise to me. I was there's a part of my brain that says, okay, you got to know the enemy. You got to know what the tactics are. You got to think like an evil genius in order to, just be able to deal with stuff these days, so that you're not left off balance. And so, yeah, I mean, we can keep layering on top of that in terms of, okay, so they create these sock puppet accounts. Well, how many of them are actually real people at keyboards? How much of that is given over to the AI machines, and
Right.
they emulating humans? They're robophones. So I think the bottom line is real-hearted people, real-minded people. Let's just keep talking about this stuff, and the real human heart, the real human mind, the real human voice is the most important factor in all of this. So, like Pink Floyd says, let's keep talking. I think that's how.
Yeah. Right. That was a Division Bell, right?
I think that was on, that was on Division Bell. That's what I was, at least I'm trying to reference. Yeah, makes me want to throw that song on right now. But let's not do that. Let's keep talking. I wanted to add something about this shill comment, right? Because, gosh, it just, like, ever since I connected with you folks, all this synchro mystical stuff has been happening, and it's like, it's almost like part of me's gone somewhat psychic, which I'm pleased by, but not surprised by. And so I had some ideas around this idea of shills, and it seems like really the purpose of all that is so that nobody trusts anybody else. So it's always about inserting some little bit of doubt, whether real or not, and mostly not real.
Yep.
So anytime, anywhere you can point to something that you know, it could be 99% gold, but then you point to this one thing that you disagree with, or makes you, or makes your antenna perk up, and then what? You're going to throw away all of the good content just because of that? So for me, it's not about the person. It's not about the messenger, right? Don't shoot the messenger.
Right.
Look for the content.
Right.
And then it's on you. It's your responsibility.
Right. Like, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like I said, I'll take truth wherever I can find it. And, on occasion you'll find it in the Bible. And I am vehemently opposed to religion in all forms. However, there is some truth in the Bible. I mean,
lots of dogma, mountains of dogma with
sure. Yeah. I mean, we could
nuggets of truth.
Right. I mean, that's a problematic scenario right there. I mean, there's so much truth in the Bible, from depending on the perspective you're looking at. I don't really want to go into a big Bible rant or tangent, but if you're looking for truth about the Bible, there's actually truth in the Bible. If you're looking, there are some truths about life that are found within the Bible. Hey, there's Henry. Hi, Henry.
Hey, Henry.
He seems to be muted.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
There he is. How you doing, Henry?
All right. Sorry I'm late, guys.
No, that's okay. It's okay, man. Welcome back, brother.
All right, brother. Yes, yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead. Let's keep moving.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we were talking about a little bit about shills and a little about online persona management. By the way, Henry, if you're not familiar with online persona management, this is something that I harp on a lot because it's really, really, really important. If you're not familiar, let me know, and I'll just run over it again, or you can look it up on your own. It's pretty startling information. It's where the U.S. military can create 10 sock accounts per U.S. military personnel.
Yeah, I heard about this before, but I never really dug into it. But yeah, definitely, I'll definitely check this out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I throw something in here? So this is almost like fractional reserve lending of personalities, right? Where you can like lend out 10 times what you're holding in the reserve. Except now, who knows what those rules are, right? Is it 100 times? And then I just wanted to add that there's the, okay, so you're talking about the military. Now that's all also assuming that they're complying with that rule. And then my question would be, well, what about independent contractors or extra governmental agencies? Well,
I didn't even get to that.
Yeah, how many?
You're absolutely right.
What's their limit? So
that's just the U.S. military. That doesn't count the 17 other intelligence agencies within this country. It doesn't count the other intelligence agencies or militaries around the world, Mossad, MI6, right? It doesn't count corporate interests.
Yep.
It doesn't count private interests like the George Soroses of the world. I mean, look, if our military can create 10 counts per U.S. military personnel, we got 1.4 million current registered military personnel. That's 10.5 million SOC accounts just for our military. I mean, that's staggering.
And then never mind the completely natural persons who have just become persuaded by ideologies, and they're acting in a way that they find reasonable, and
there's no way to know.
Yeah.
Like we've got like the many people listening to this show are familiar with the asshole Michael Reznicki. You know, many people. He behaves very much like OPM.
Yes, he does.
There are other people who Amy and I have identified as we're pretty damn sure that they're OPM. There's like people like Paul Taylor, Michael Reznicki, and various other people that you just really don't know.
Yep.
All you can do is judge them by their deeds, right? Know them by their deeds. And that goes, again, back to the damn Bible. And again, I hate, you know, like organized religion, but you'll find me quote the Bible on fair occasion.
Yeah. Well, there definitely are good things to be found in that book. But then that's true of most any scripture.
So anyway, somebody left me a comment under one of my videos talking about how, you know, again, you'll hear occasionally people will say, not everything's a hoax. You guys are conspiratards or whatever, right? Like,
yep.
It was I think it was my video on Texas. I put up a couple of videos on Texas because I noticed some time discrepancies, like the day it happened. And I got a comment from somebody saying, look, Las Vegas was real. I mean, Las Vegas was a hoax. It was a false flag. But this Texas thing was real. You guys, not everything is fake. Not everything's a hoax. What do you guys have to say about that? Is everything a hoax? Because as far as I'm concerned, 99.9% of everything, if it's on TV, if it's in the media, it's a hoax.
Yes, that was what I was going to say. My opinion is if you see it in the mainstream media, there is an agenda behind it, and it's a written script. That's there's no point to putting it on their media if they can't control it.
Yeah.
Right?
You guys ever heard? I don't know if it went that far, but over here in California, there was some people that went postal. You guys know the meaning of going postal, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So you guys definitely heard about that. So that actually really did happen. You know, that postal thing wasn't a hoax. The postal guy got.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, yeah, it went viral or whatever. It went on the news, but you know that wasn't a hoax. You know, that was actually something real. But
it did become a household term, going postal.
It did.
And it did refer
to
it did literally go postal.
Right. Yeah. So they flipped it. They coined it. So they kind of now they got like freaks, like, you know, people like, you know, military vet guys, you know, going to like churches and shooting up the place.
Right.
Like that's just absolute ridiculous.
But let's put our thinking caps on for a moment. How long ago was that? It was like the mid 80s, wasn't it?
Oh, early 90s, yeah. Mid 80s, early 90s, yeah.
The guy that shot up the post office, the very first, you know, mass shooting from a lone wolf, right? That was, you know, almost 30 years ago or more.
Yeah.
That was 25
Yep.
or more years ago. So here's the thing. I haven't been awake for 25 years.
No.
Our friend Bart here, and by the way, Bart, Henry, say hello to each other and introduce you, whatever, and welcome and all that. But Bart was one of those people who's sort of ahead of the curve on certain aspects of this, grand conspiracy. He's been digging for 25 years, and I'm going to be picking his brain about some of those things going way, way back. But Bart, what do you think about this going postal? Because to be honest with you, I've been awake about 14 years, and I've been like a researcher for like 14 or so years. And I've only on a rare occasion do I go back in time and look at an event that occurred before I was quote unquote awake to see if it was also, because the fact is that hoaxes and false flags are not new. Crisis actors are not new. Our military has been using crisis actors and doing hyper-realistic training going back to the early 60s or even the late 50s, right? False flags are not new. The USS Liberty, the USS, God, what's the other one? Darn it, left my brain.
Gulf of Tonkin?
Gulf of Tonkin, of course. The USS
Yeah.
Liberty. There was another one, another ship, a long time.
The Maine.
The Maine. Thank you, Amy.
There you go.
You're welcome.
I mentioned that one last week during the show. That
Yeah. So hoaxes, false flags, crisis actors. None of this shit is really new. None of it's new. So if we went back, and I bet you if we went back and really examined all that we could get our hands on regarding this guy who went postal, I wonder if that wasn't a hoax as well. You know what I mean? It wouldn't freaking surprise me at this stage.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, so I think you addressed the question to me. So what do I think? Okay, postal. I do recall that happening, whatever it was, 20, 25 years ago. At the time, it was a passing news story. It was not anything that threw up any flags for me in the sense of that could never happen. Okay, yes, some nut job cracks and grabs a gun and shoots up a post office. What I'm finding interesting, or what I find most interesting, is okay, that was then, and looking back at all of that and analyzing it is super important, of course. But we are in the here and now. And that's really the place where we are, right? So right now we're always, or we are. Okay, so we know now we know and have access to information better and quicker and more than we ever have. So I would say that's the baseline, right? And tomorrow it'll be even more and better and quicker. And who knows what it's going to look like 5 years out, 10 years out, unless there's unless somebody hits the really slams on the brakes in the solar system. I see it just growing exponentially, and yeah, we have to be prepared. But it is really interesting, this idea of I think it's like lies, right? All lies are like, in order to have an effective lie, it's like 80% true, and then 80-90% true, and 10% 20% false. And so all these false flags, and I can't be too mad at most folks who have short attention spans, and they are just sort of coasting through life, and they haven't really slowed down enough to contemplate anything for quite a while, for a long time. And so, yeah, I can't be too mad about folks buying this stuff, because in their lives it's like, okay, yeah, that happened, move on to the next thing. So, but that's part of the conditioning too, right? I think there's
Yes, it is.
again, plans within plans within plans. So,
yeah, that's from Dune. I love that movie. So look, let me run through a couple of these headlines, and let me get this stuff out of the way. From Las Vegas, I just heard that Jason Aldean's attorney, Jason Aldean, the artist performing at the Las Vegas shooting, for those who are just unfamiliar, his attorney, and he's also the attorney for the Route 91 Harvest Festival. He's dead.
allegedly.
Yeah, right. Allegedly, exactly. Right. Allegedly. So apparently he died of a seizure in his sleep. And isn't that? Do you guys remember? Isn't that what happened to that 28-year-old girl who was on?
Yes.
It was like the same. It was like the same thing. They said she died of a seizure in her sleep.
Yep, that was the story.
Okay. Well, and then obviously for anybody who hasn't heard, and this is just a side note, there was also that couple, husband and wife, that were survivors. They died in a fiery car crash, right? Like Michael Hastings.
Yep.
So, okay. Let's see. Amy, I'm just going to throw this out there, and we're going to chew on this one because Amy and I are already in agreement. The LA Times and other news outlets, I understand there are several, according to the report, the story. The story is that LA Times and many other news outlets are now suing the Las Vegas PD to obtain records.
Yeah, apparently they have sealed the records. And so all these news media mouthpieces are suing the Las Vegas Police Department to get the data presently sealed. And I just think that's pretty peculiar.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. We know the news is complicit.
Yep.
It doesn't even make any sense. It sounds like breadcrumbs for truthers.
That would be my best guess. Yeah.
Okay.
So the controlled corporate media has to also make some gestures in order to appear as if they weren't, or as if they were something other than that. Right, so that might just be the kind of virtue signaling, so to speak, that they decided that they would put out there in order to,
swing people into believing that maybe they're not complicit.
Well, if anybody's on the fence on this thing, that's going to swing a couple people this way or that way.
So what is up with all the sex scandals, you guys? What do you think of that? What do you make of this? I mean, I'm sure everybody on the panel and most listening have heard of, the Weinstein and the Kevin Spacey, and now Corey Feldman is back in the scene, right? He wants $10 million to make this movie before he releases the 6 names of people, and everybody's back and forth about what, whether that's the right thing to do or whether we should support him. And in fact, I was listening to Jimmy Church, Richie Allen today. He was talking with Jay Parker. Jay Parker he's one of those people who says we should support Corey. He says, would it hurt you? Would it kill you to give him $5? No, absolutely. It wouldn't kill me to give him $5. It wouldn't kill me to give him, considerably more, but that's irrelevant. If he knows something, and he knows that there are people who are still working, still abusing, that means that children are being abused as we speak, and he has an obligation.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't buy his rationale around the statute of limitations thing that he mentions sometimes, that if he named names, then he exposes himself to be sued for libel. It's my understanding that if the thing is true, you can't be sued for libel, right?
Exactly.
just because he's saying that that's the law in California, and on the one hand, I wouldn't be surprised if, especially in the state where, you know, I call them Sodom and Gomorrah, that's San Francisco and LA, and throw San Diego in there because that's a weird town as well.
Yes,
but,
it is.
Oh, San Diego is way
right.
less.
So Sodom and Gomorrah, and I wish they had a third one, you know, that I could, you know, the unholy three. But
so this morning I see a news article.
There we go.
And by the way, Henry, feel free. You just jump in anytime, pal.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'm here.
Okay. So this morning I heard this was one of those news tickers that goes across the bottom of your typical news, you know, broadcast. Senate passes a resolution. No, I'm sorry. This one actually came from Nancy. This was something that she saw and was telling me about. So the Senate passes a resolution that that makes it mandatory sex harassment training for all senators, staff, and interns.
What?
Hey, somebody look it up if you don't believe me.
I believe you, but I'm just sitting here thinking, let's see, are we not dealing with adults? Do they not have critical thinking?
No, apparently not.
I guess we're dealing with children.
Well, this is the same group of adults that are passing laws that make it illegal to use the wrong fucking pronoun.
That's true.
Okay. So, also,
can I
yeah, go ahead.
jump in real quick? I think the idea of sex issues have clearly been weaponized, and they're used as I always think of things in terms of like if you're boxing, right? You have you use your right hand and your left hand differently in order to box. So with the left you jab, and with the right you hit harder, right? Straight right hook. But the left you jab, right? So that's how I looked at the political polarity. So the left comes in with all the soft warfare, and the right hits with the hard warfare. So I think sex, and it's sort of like if you think about the chakras, it's the base chakra and then the sex chakra. If there's a better term for it, please remind me. But and the whole thing around, like, here's how I define Satanism, or these are just words that point to realities or the thing itself, right? So we get caught up in words. I'm interested in how are words used to point to the thing itself. So for me, some of the game is about taking the chakra system and inverting it, right? So you have your 7 chakras. The heart is in the middle. At the bottom is the base chakra. Then you have your sex chakra, your solar plexus, which is the will. Then you have the heart. Then you have the throat, which is the voice. Then you have the third eye and the crown, which is the pituitary gland, which is vision. Then you have the crown chakra, which corresponds to the pineal gland. This is the seat of the soul, things like this, right? And so the what happens is the whole thing gets inverted. So the base chakra is then crowned. So the primary thing is working from fear and survival. And then the second thing is the next obsession is sex and sexuality and sexual identity. And then it goes to the will and getting people to get swayed this way or that way, right? Now the heart, it seems that the heart would be in the middle, and it's the pivot point, right? And I think that's a really significant place for it to be. But what I think happens is if you do that inversion, what happens is the stuff that should be at the bottom and you're moving up is now at the top, and it's weighing the heart down. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm absolutely willing to come back and explore that. That's definitely a subject I'm a little familiar with, and definitely worth exploring. Let me just finish running through this. Have you guys? Several of these are brand new from this morning. Like, I just heard this morning that the comedian Louis C.K. is now accused by I think 3 women of sexual assault. I also heard this morning that the GOP Senate candidate Roy Moore from Alabama is also accused of molesting a 14-year-old girl. Okay, this is all brand new this morning. Also, very recently, in the last couple of days, I'm hearing Charlie Sheen is now being fingered. And by the way, this isn't new information, but I'm just hearing it. Charlie Sheen is now being fingered as one of the people who actually raped Corey Haim on the set of Lucas. And for anybody interested, go on over to the YouTube channel known as Black Child, or The Black Child. He actually called out Charlie Sheen last year, or maybe it was a couple of years ago. And then Corey Feldman actually tweeted Black Child's video and then backpedaled. Okay, so there's something weird going on there. I also heard this morning that the Los Angeles District Attorney is establishing a task force to evaluate these 6 cases in Hollywood. So, I mean, is this a psyop, do you guys think? I would suggest yes, this is a bunch of low-level stuff.
Yeah, yep. I think what we have...
The Clintons, the Bushes, the Royals, they're not going to go down for any of this.
No. This is diverting the attention, taking out some of the low-level players so that when they're taken out, everybody can go, okay, dust off the hands, everything's handled, off we go.
Right. And for all of us plebes and all of the dirty masses that are paying attention, they can say, we can look at each other and at their water cooler and we can say, yeah, finally they're doing something about it. When they're not.
Yes, when they're not. Not really.
I think there's this other dimension to it as well, especially like with the Louis C.K. thing. Okay, so let's just take the story as it's being presented. So we're talking about an instance. So one of the things that he's being accused of, something that happened like 20 years ago. I'm hearing something there. 20 years ago, where the scenario is he, let's say, does a show, and then 2 ladies go with him to his hotel room for some drinks, and then he walks out of the room and he's naked and he touches himself. Okay. Here's what I think. Let's imagine every hotel room in the world and all of the most horrible stuff that has happened in hotel rooms, never mind private residences and dungeons and all of that, right? So think of the worst of the worst. Think of that 10 times, 100,000 times, 1 million times over, right? Way worse than that. And of course, people don't want to think about that, but still, I mean, this is not a story. This is not a story at all. But here's what I think that they're doing, is for people to have that reaction to it and go, yeah, that's not so bad, right? And then what gets smuggled in is like, yeah, that other stuff wasn't so bad. And so it softens the whole thing, and we never really get to addressing the really egregious stuff. So it's pretending to do something about it when actually nothing's happening. That's my 2 cents on that.
I can see where you're coming from on that.
What do you think? What do you think, Henry? What do you think's going on with all this supposed cracking down on this sexual abuse? A lot of it is diverting attention from pedophilia, but not all of it. There's quite a bit of pedophilia being exposed.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think, like, you know, in the end times, you know, like in the times that we're living in, right? There's a lot there. God exposes a lot of things. He said he's gonna lift veils in these times, right? Information is gonna travel rapidly, and knowledge is gonna increase. So, I mean, is it them just trying to cover up, you know, the pedo in the Hollywood? Are they trying to cover up pedo in the Wall Street? Are they trying to cover pedos in DC? You know what I mean? Are these guys just scapegoats? What really is going down? You know what I mean? What is real? What's Anthony Weiner really hiding? You know what I mean? So I definitely think that this is just, you know, just all on the surface right now. And you guys definitely know with Kathy O'Brien and I forgot that little girl's name, and their testimony of what you know the Clintons did to them. And yeah, so I really, you know, I've been trying to say this forever, like, you know, lock her up, you know, throw away the key, things like that. But it takes time, you know. But, you know, it's sometimes it's just wishful thinking, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
You can take people down, right? But we.
Okay, well, I don't really know exactly what's happening in Catalonia over in Spain. But I did hear this morning, and I'm just going to throw the headline out there, that a Spanish judge has jailed Catalonia's top lawmaker. So
for what?
Well, yeah, right. For what? Who knows? Who knows for what? I mean, we could look it up if anybody's interested. But there's definitely a lot of shaking up going on worldwide. I mean, there's this Saudi coup has just taken place.
Yeah.
I mean, are you guys familiar with what's going on in freaking Saudi Arabia? Jared Kushner.
I was just going to say, I just know that something's happening, and they've arrested a bunch of the princes, and, you know, I don't know.
They arrested a billionaire prince, Alweed bin Talal. I think it's Alweed. I forget his first name. He's a billionaire Saudi prince. He's a large owner of Twitter. He owns the top several floors of. I'm hearing feedback. Somebody might have. If anybody's on the live on the page on my channel, mute that video.
Let me make
so
sure.
This guy owns several floors, the top floors of the Mandalay Hotel. He's a huge Hillary Clinton donor. So he and 11 other Saudi princes were arrested, along with 38 other ministers. And then there's a helicopter crash that went down and killed a Saudi prince and 8 other officials.
Mm-hmm.
All this happened, I think, while Jared Kushner was in Saudi Arabia. I understand that the Saudi Royal Air Force was in Las Vegas during the time of the supposed shooting. They were training with our military.
Wow.
I mean, shit is just getting crazy, man.
That's a lot to take in. I hadn't heard. I had heard about the guy who got the Psycho. So somebody else. I don't think it's me. Somebody needs to fix the Psycho.
I think it's Henry that's creating the echo, but I'm not sure how.
Henry, try to
really.
See if
Okay, I'm gonna mute it real quick.
Henry, are you on my channel watching like the live chat or anything right now?
No, I'm not. I have a mic, my Yeti mic, but I don't know if it's causing the feedback.
Okay.
Can you guys?
Hang on. Just leave yourself unmuted and let's just. I mean, sometimes the Hangout will give somebody feedback and then it'll clear itself up. Right now, I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it either.
Okay, cool.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Crap. Yeah. So that's a lot to take in. Obviously, here's how I look at it. It's all about codes, right? So codes flow all throughout the world, and it's whether you can read them or not. And I think that these codes exist on, I don't know, 10,000 different levels. And so everything is sort of, one thing represents another thing. There's, just, again, plans within plans and layers upon layers. And so it's very interesting that the Mandalay hotel thing occurs, right? The Las Vegas shooting occurs. And then let's see, 3 weeks later? No, it's over a month later. Now, wow, it seems like just yesterday. That the person that owns the top floors from which the shooting allegedly occurred, and he happens to be Saudi, is now under arrest, whatever that means, right? And again, what can you trust? It's all about, doubt everything, take in the information, keep chewing it, don't
Don't believe.
Yeah, don't believe. Don't believe stuff.
Place probabilities and adjust them as the new data come along. Absolutely.
Yeah, work towards knowing stuff. Either you know or you don't know. And until you know, then don't settle on believing. That's what I guess.
Okay, I got another one here for you guys. Not sure if you heard, but Kansas State University, a student's car was vandalized with a bunch of racial slurs. He was a black guy, so you can imagine the racial slurs. I'll try to be PC and a little bit respectful of our black listeners and viewers. But it was saying things like N-word, go home, all shit like that. Okay, it was a black guy and his car was vandalized and with graffiti, all kinds of racially charged graffiti. Well, it turns out that the police, they investigated. Obviously, it went into a big shitstorm on the media, and turns out through the police's, there's cameras, right? There's security cameras all over the place, and they went looking in the neighbor's area or across the street to see if any security cameras could potentially catch the culprit. And guess who they caught? They caught the guy who owns the fucking car.
Yep.
That reminds me of this was a couple of years back where it was
Jewish.
and he did swastikas on his own driveway because he wanted the city to come and do some repairs on it. So
the motives of people to do things blows me away.
Here's where I'm where I start thinking. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and I said, "Hey, can you think of a couple people in your life where, let's say you walk up to them now, whether you're very good friends with them, you know them, they know you. Now, this kind of person, if you were to say one sentence to them, and that sentence was, you crafted it in such a way that could you get them to completely fall apart or go into a rage?" And she says, "Oh yeah, I know a couple of people like that." And I'm like, okay, don't you think there's something wrong with that? Where you could get triggered so easily by someone saying a sentence or showing a hand sign or showing you a symbol, and it pushes that button and you have a major meltdown or a freak out. And I think that part of these psychological operations is to induce that in as many people as possible, to put these buttons into people.
Mm-hmm.
so that when those phrases, those keywords, those magical spells are uttered, that they lose it, and then they're off balance. So it's judo, right? It's bushido. It's you do that to them, and then they're off balance, and then you can steer them into the next move, into the next move, into the next move, and defeat them.
I've got an element to that as well, because it seems to me that they are trying to make us responsible for how other people choose to feel. You know,
Yeah.
I can say anything I want, and, you know, some people choose to be offended at something I say. Other people choose to think humorous. Other people might choose to just think it's silly and forget it. But it's not my responsibility to make that choice for others. However, they are trying to legislate it that it is. I can call you, hey girl, and you could choose to
Right.
be offended by that, or you could choose to laugh at that because you're not a girl. But to say I have to use the right gender when I call you,
Right.
because you might be triggered.
Sons and Daughters of Liberty in the chat reminded me, and thank you. It was on my mind, but the conversation sometimes gets away from us. He said, "Don't forget the Muslim lady who said she was attacked and beaten because she was, I guess that might be a typo. She was near the traditional wear.
No, she was wearing the traditional wear that
women wear, and then she pled
yeah,
guilty."
the Muslim traditional stuff.
And supposedly happened at a Trump rally. So yeah, I was going to mention that this has happened. Jewish people, like the one that Bart brought up, they've been caught doing it. Black people have been caught. LGBT people, Muslim people, it's like a self-emulation, and then they get caught, and all it really does is stir the pot. This is about pushing people's buttons.
Yeah, sooner or later, some white person is going to paint, "It's not okay to be white," and say, "I'm being harassed. I'm being discriminated against."
Yeah, well, I have one from right here in my hometown. We have the local newspaper hanging out in my bathroom, and the article is all about how the ACLU has been accusing the Alameda school system of racism or banning free speech, And here's the scenario. There were, and I might not get this 100% correct, but the gist of it will be correct. There were some Black Lives Matter signs up either in the courtyard or near the school, and someone, okay, here's how the story goes. Someone vandalized that sign by changing it to All Lives Matter, right? So taking Black Lives Matter, changing it to All Lives Matter is now vandalism, right? So we're through the looking glass, right? And so all of it's all busy work, isn't it? So now there's articles written about this. Now there's politicians having to talk about this. Now there's community leaders having to come out, and this is a topic now. It's
worse than that. It's being taught in schools. Anti-Semitism is now part of certain school curriculum.
Right.
And if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel Truth Seeker, he's got a video on this that'll just shock the pants right off of you.
Oh, it's not going to shock me, brother.
Well, I mean, if you,
I got my finger on the pulse, but yeah, I'll check it out.
It's kind of astonishing. It's almost worth sharing the video and going over some of that info, because if you pause the video and read the curriculum that he's showing, it's pretty damn astonishing. If I remember correctly, it starts off with begin by providing the students with a framework for understanding the history of anti-Semitism first by defining anti-Semitism. Okay, so the very first curriculum is teach the definition of anti-Semitism. Okay, so we're talking about children who have no idea. They have no historical reference, they have no life experience, and they don't even understand the definition of the word. And then I think, if I remember, the very next curriculum has to do with, and I'm just paraphrase, asking the students their opinion on whether or not contemporary Semitism is the same as historical Semitism. So you leap ahead. It's a giant leap in logic and education that you're asking people, children, students who have no idea, who are just learning the damn definition. You're now asking them their opinions, and this has nothing to do with education, has nothing to do with actual information. It's asking their opinions. You're asking the opinion of a child, a student, a person who has no idea, no frame of reference.
Or who just found something out, right? So it's about,
Exactly.
I just told you this, now you give me, I'm going to train you on what your correct response is going to be to this.
Right.
And then it's feedback loop, and that's how it gets in. I think that that's a tactic that's used not only within that topic, but this is where that idea of taking responsibility for your own mind, going out there, looking at what is logic, what is philosophy, what are logical fallacies, what are psychological psyop tactics, what do they look like? Again, it's Bushido, it's judo, it's any martial art, right? So it's about, we have to have martial arts now, psychological martial arts and physical martial arts. And that's one of these things that I'm really surprised. Like, there was the whole big Bruce Lee trend in the late 60s, 70s. And yes, I think that there's now a martial arts studio in every town at least. But, you know, I feel like there should be martial arts in every school, in every community.
Yeah, Truth Seeker pointed out in his video on the anti-Semitism being taught in school. He pointed out that nothing that benefits kids in the way of like life experience or life preparation. Like, kids graduate today having no idea about banking or money or interest rates. They have no, and then it's no wonder that 70% of this population is so freaking deep in debt right now.
Or how to use the English language.
Right. So
I mentioned.
and I'm no exception. I'm in my mid 40s, and when I got out of high school, that was one of the things that me and my senior friends would complain to each other about, is that we were aware then that we were not prepared. We knew it.
My senior friends and I.
Yes.
All right, touche.
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 So that's douche right there. That's a douche.
All right, so I want to
you
get
actually-
Henry in.
Yeah.
Listen, a couple of weeks ago when Vegas
I'm
happened.
gonna pop out for a smoke.
Okay, sure.
Henry Lincoln. Yeah. He's
All right, Mark,
been pretty quiet.
A couple of weeks ago when Vegas happened, gosh, what's it been, a month now, a month and a half?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, thereabouts.
I railed, and even when we had Henry on with us, I also railed about how many YouTube people that I saw that were saying, I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who was there. Okay. And,
Yep.
and Henry is one of them. Henry knows somebody who knows somebody who was there and was shot and killed.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, Henry, did you get any more information?
Nope, same thing. No updates really. They kind of went quiet after I kind of wanted proof. So, and yeah, yeah. And it's sad because I still get in fights with like my in-laws and saying like, "Oh, why don't you just believe them?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just not gonna believe what they say. I need hard evidence."
Right.
Yeah, really.
Right. Well, I just want to make it known that I know somebody who knows somebody who was in Sutherland Springs. And
Sutherland Springs, yeah.
Henry, you know this because I sent you the message.
Yep. Yep.
The person, and by the way, the most recent video that I uploaded on the Texas thing, I found a little zinger, by the way, and I know you guys have seen my video. There's a commenter by the name of ME626Jet. That's my friend. That's my friend in Texas.
All right.
Okay, and you can even go and read a couple of his comments because he basically he says the same thing. He says his employee. Now this person is somebody I know. I just want to make this for the record. This is a guy that I know very well. I vacationed in Alaska. Literally, my wife and his wife and the four of us vacationed together in Alaska. I've been to his house, stayed at his house for a week when I was doing a job in San Antonio. He lives something like 20 miles away from Sutherland Springs. He has an employee. He's got a business. He's got about 30 employees. His mechanic claims to be best friends with the guy who lost 8 family members.
Wow.
And that is just freaking crazy. Now, my friend is awake. He's one of those people who he's very awake. Okay. He doesn't have time to do the research that we do, being somebody who runs a ranch and a large business. But he's got a YouTube channel. He's awake. He watches the show. He watches my videos. Him and I are virtually best friends. And he's no liar. So if he tells me that that's what his mechanic told him, I know that to be true. Now, I want to backtrack mentally here because we're talking second, third, and fourth hand, removed, right? So my friend in Texas has a mechanic. The mechanic is best friends with the guy who lost 8 people in Sutherland Springs. My friend is not a liar. The mechanic is a guy who has worked for him for 30 years. So he trusts his mechanic as I trust him. Okay? So bottom line here is, and I'm not going to say his name, but if you're listening, we've spoken with Ole Demigard on a few occasions, and I don't remember if he told us, but if you listen to some of Ole Demigard's older interviews, he talks about his CIA friend Chip Tatum. And Ole describes a scenario where the two of them were driving around, and Chip points, he says, "You see that little town over there?" And Ole's like, "Yeah." And Chip says, "We own that whole town."
Oh,
that whole town is ours. Everyone in it. Okay.
I could believe that happening. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean that's it. So and then Amy and I get a little gem, a little beautiful gem of information, and I might have to do a screen share. Amy, maybe you could do it. Do you still have that? I told you to leave that tab open. Do you still have that? The historical website?
Yes.
Okay, so Rich Van Claren, who Henry, you know Rich.
Awesome researcher.
So Henry, you were on with Rich a couple weeks ago, so you know Rich. Rich Van Claren left us a little gem of information in Skype. And before I forget, Henry, check your Skype. I sent you a contact request.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
So Rich sent us a little beautiful gem of information on Skype to look at Richard Pauley, who is either the head of FEMA or the director of FEMA or some high-ranking FEMA official. He comes from an extremely wealthy family from Sutherland Springs.
Yep.
To the point where his family is so wealthy that they very likely might be the ones who own that town.
Yep.
His family, his great-grandfather, was one of the founding members of Texas, one of the first 300 families to go and settle Texas. And his great-grandfather or his grandfather settled and built his mansion in Sutherland Springs. So I tell you what.
And the connection to him is what? He's related to the shooter, or some of the victims?
No, I'm talking about. I'm going to look him up right now, just to be sure. I don't want to get my wording wrong. He's either the director of FEMA, or deputy director, or some high-ranking official.
Okay, gotcha.
Richard Pulley is a professional emergency manager with wide experience across the spectrum of emergency response planning.
What's his title again?
Lead planner for FEMA. I wonder what he plans.
Wow.
Yeah.
And actually, he's also operational planner simultaneously.
Yeah. Amy, do a screen share. Pull up the that tab which is the Sutherland Springs Historical Museum. The Sutherland Springs Historical Museum website features Richard Pulley's family because they're that big and that powerful in that town.
Okay. Well, first I'll just bring up the Pulley,
There you
or
go.
Polly, or however you pronounce it, so you can see. This is his LinkedIn profile, and he's with FEMA. You got me highlighted there, Aaron?
I do
It's
now.
in the small box. I don't know who controls that. You have to click on it to get it.
Click
Yeah, I
on
got
me. Click on me on the
Got it.
Hangouts. On the Hangouts, you don't see the screen share unless you click on the person.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yes.
Okay, so you can see that it from September 2009 to present, he was lead planner. From September 2009 to present, he was operational planner for FEMA Region 3. What region was Sutherland
That's Texas.
Springs in?
That's Texas.
Yeah, but I don't know what FEMA region that is.
Henry's
Offhand.
telling you right now, it's
I
Texas.
think he's saying Region 3, it includes
Oh,
Texas.
FEMA Region 3 is Texas. Okay, got it. Well, golly gee, how
Okay, yeah.
interesting.
Here you go, Amy. So FEMA 3 is going to be New Mexico, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Texas. That's FEMA 3, right?
I'm sure he didn't have his finger in that pie at all. So at any rate, here we come to the Sutherland Springs Historical Museum. And they've got some interesting things. This website just doesn't strike me as one really set up for real, if you know what I mean. It seems to have been set up ages ago. And this is like veterans. And if we click this guy.
Wait. Go back, Amy. Just go back. Right there. Hold still. Look down on the black left-hand bar. Pulley family history.
Yes.
You don't have to click it. You can show us what you want. I just want to highlight that the Sutherland Springs Historical Museum website features the Pulley family big time.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, here we have the Pulley family. We've got a picture, but there's no description. We don't know who these people are, really. Here's another one. Now, as I ask you, is a historical museum going to put up pictures on their website with no indication of who or what they are? So look, this is 2008.
Well, you did click on the Poly family, so I
Yeah,
mean,
but
there's
you
at
think
least that.
they,
I mean, I understand what you're saying, that it's not. There's no.
you know, this is Susie Polly and this is Harry Polly, I mean, or whatever their names are. I don't know. You'd think that they would be labeled, because you saw some of the pictures on some of the sections do have some kind of a description, but here we have, okay, great, but what are their names? What are their names? Here's Josie Polly and Anna Polly. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is almost, this could be like another Sandy, kind of like Sandy Hook when they controlled the whole entire narrative. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and look,
from the
we
cemetery.
have,
Polly Cemetery. Oh, there's Polly Police, Polly Fire Department, Polly Ambulance. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
So-
I'm guessing that he just might have something. What are the numbers on here? I like looking at numbers. 112, 62, 72, 2600, and 1900. It looks like, and I can't quite read what the numbers are referring to. But at any rate, then we go down to Polly family history. Obviously, Joseph H. Polly was important enough to make it into their museum, right? I mean, I don't see anybody else's stories specifically. There's no other people in this town that they felt they had to add historical website.
Can I throw something in here?
Sure.
So I grew up in New England, and New England is a whole collection of small towns, and every small town has their founders, their big families, and especially in New England, you'll find very historical families, the Cabots, the Ships, or the Shifts, and it's kind of like, okay, they're proud of their heritage. They're proud of the folks that came in and settled, right? So on that level, this doesn't seem that weird, right? And it also, I mean, this is some little podunk town in Texas. I mean, the only reason we're talking about it, the only reason that it's come onto our radar is because there was a mass shooting and it got catapulted into the mainstream media. So here's an angle I'd like to explore, is the idea of, okay, this guy Polly, who's head of FEMA, he would probably prefer to stay under the radar. But now, because of this event, he has the microscope on him.
Well, I strongly suspect he was involved in the what would they call it, the operational planning of this.
Well, yeah, he could.
Maybe he was even the lead planner.
That's a possibility. That's the angle. But I'm saying, could there be this other angle? And I know you folks are a little bit lukewarm on what I hope to get to at some point during the show, which is what is the AI doing? But we can get back to that. I don't want to step on your toes here, Amy. If you want to continue with this idea, the only point I want to make here is that this guy and his family would have been completely off the radar if this event hadn't happened. Now there's going to be a lot of people looking and digging, and who knows what they're going to find, right? One connection is going to lead to the next connection, to the next connection. And Perhaps it's about offering people up. You know, there, again, it could be a couple angles. One of them is it could be offering these folks up as a sort of sacrifice, kind of like a Harvey Weinstein kind of scenario. And again, Henry mentioned Sandy Hook, right? So with Sandy Hook, Newtown, a lot of stuff that wouldn't have ever made it to the forefronts of people's minds, like GE, right? What's GE up to, right? Because so much GE stuff came out of Sandy Hook. All of a sudden, a whole bunch of people are paying attention to, you know, what's GE up to. So I'll pass it back to you.
All right. I just want to point out that I really did think that there were some strange things about this site. Now, it seems to me, I don't know how to tell when the pages were last updated on a browser. I'm not that technical in that respect. But in looking at the things, the latest date I saw of anything was 2014. Maybe 2015. At any rate, it's been a while, it looks like. And I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, they put up this nifty little website. They still have it running. And up they say the official Sutherland Spring Historical Museum website, keeping the history alive, rich in Texas history, Alamo connections, buried treasure, Texas Rangers and outlaws, Union spy in the Civil War. Now, I don't know what that's about, but they do have a section called Texas Rangers. And I click on it to find out. You're thinking, okay, now that's odd. They had to put that in their little title that's on every page, and there's absolutely nothing. Okay, well, maybe the outlaws. Yeah, let's check out the outlaws. Oh, look, we don't even have anything there. And I just find that very odd, that here's something that they focus on up here and have absolutely no data upon, you know? And then one other blank page I found was there's their cemeteries. Again,
I think what they're telling you, right? I think that what they're telling you about the outlaws is that there are no outlaws in this town. There's nothing to see here. No criminal activity whatsoever.
I guess, huh?
Yeah.
So, you know, just
So if you guys heard go ahead, Amy.
I was just going to say, here's another thing. We've got their schools, and we've got all these pictures. Well, this one has the name right there, Celia Richter.
Cecilia. Whoa,
Cecilia. Okay, some of them have names, but for example, here's this image. You'd think a historical society would want to name at least some of the people in the picture. You know, at least the family name, maybe something.
Right. Yeah. All the so-and-so girls' school or whatever. Yeah. There's no captions whatsoever. It's just a bunch of
nothing. Just a bunch of old pictures, and I just find that's very odd for a historical society. And then we go one last, and then I'll back down.
Yeah. Now that's the one that I was commenting to you on Skype. There's a couple of women in that photo that look a little inbred to me.
Well, and to me, I look at these thick thighs and straight hips, especially, and this one especially. That's not a woman's physique. They've all got nothing in the hip area, and when you look at their faces, they are very masculine. A lot of them, like all of them.
Check the 2 or 3 right in the middle. They look either autistic. I mean, look at the jaw lines on some of those women. Now, those are some really
This one
Scary.
especially.
It's like you wouldn't want to meet those women in the dark alley.
But it doesn't look like a woman to me. It looks like a man in makeup. And not a very handsome man at that. You know? That's what it looks like. This one doesn't even look like a woman. It looks like a man to me. I'm looking at all of these going, they're not built like women.
I don't know them any of
That's just my and then
Okay.
so this is they felt they had to put up a special page for this picture and then this picture, and yes, it is labeled. This is Edith Thomas Mills, 1944, and a
And I
high
love
school
how
picture.
they love. Oh, and let's also point out that they love to abbreviate. They love to abbreviate the Sutherland Springs. You see SS all over this website.
Do
SS families, look at SS churches, SS schools, SS businesses. They love abbreviating.
and here's another thing. Okay, they've got two sections of town apparently. The new town, and here this is the ghost town, which was the new town that built up and then emptied out, and the only thing that they have for this whole thing is this little it isn't even one I can click. It's just this little tiny picture, and that's the only thing.
So I see what you're saying.
Why did they bother?
Yeah, you think that this website would have a lot more going for it, more tags, more photos that have captions. It seems pretty lackluster.
But when it comes to money, look, they've got an RV park with Wi-Fi available, but no cable at this time. And, you know, they've got some, and they even have a form that you can fill out. And when you go to to donate, Ollie, they have a PayPal.
Go back one page. And by the way, isn't the story of the shooter that he was a security guard at an RV park? I wonder if that's the park. Scroll back up. Okay, per night, $30. What is the 4 spots available? Okay, that's a weekly, monthly rates. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And it's just
All right.
peculiar to me that
Okay, so let's get off of the museum.
okay, yeah, I'm going to stop sharing now.
The museum is pretty lackluster. The website is pretty lackluster. The museum website, that is. Again, Henry, feel free to just jump in anytime you want to add something. We'll shut up and let you talk.
Yeah, no worries. I'm listening. You guys are great.
You're supposed to be helping us talk.
I'm just enjoying the show.
Aw.
Okay.
I'll talk.
Sorry, got Bart here.
I can't help but think that there's really not much here. Again, a little podunk town. The fact that they even have a museum, I'm not particularly shocked that their museum is underfunded and this crappy. I think that your local museum in your local little town, no matter if there is a wealthy.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. Absolutely.
And then I would say, like, okay, I get the SS thing, but
I mean, they could have just said schools.
At the same time,
SS schools. It's At
the same time, there's only there's 26 letters in the alphabet. It is Sutherland Springs. It does say SS.
I know. It doesn't prove anything. It's just something that I wanted to throw out.
But it is one of these things that a lot of folks would point to, and as this weak point, and be like, "You guys are crazy."
Right. Yeah. I don't want to be a Russian vids and say, look at the photo from Zach's house. You can see that the insulation has a G on it.
That's
Yeah. That was seriously reaching on that one.
Okay,
I have to admit.
I just wanted to point it out. They do like to throw in the SS schools, SS churches. They could have said schools. They could have said churches, but no, it's SS this, SS that. I just wanted to. All right, enough of that.
And I'll be the last one to say that, stay away from investigating the SS. There's a treasure trove of historical significance for anybody who wants to get into studying
it's shocking, really. It really is.
But I think it's a bit of a coinky-dink in this particular instance.
Sure, yeah, it doesn't prove anything. I know.
But if it leads you, right? If someone watches this video, right, and they've woken up recently, or even if they've woken up a long time ago, and they go, you know what? I've never actually made a decent stab at an inquiry into World War II stuff and Nazi stuff and the SS, and it makes them go into that, and then their minds are blown, or they piece some stuff together. Then yeah, great. I think that's the value of this kind of riffing. Yeah, that's it.
Well, on that note, if anybody is interested, I would suggest post-war Nazi research is probably the most important at this point in time to understand and realize how prevalent the Nazi party / organization has managed to live on in full underground. In fact, to the point where, and Dr. Joseph Farrell has made such a strong case that it's becoming widely accepted in the UFO community, beginning to become accepted. Still quite a bit of pushback from the diehards, but the point is that the thing that crashed in Roswell was not extraterrestrial. Okay, it was Nazi. Just so you know.
I was gonna get in there, Aaron. I'm gonna be like, say the name of our favorite.
I know that there's some UFO people out there that are probably gonna, their brains just exploded in their heads. But the fact is that what did we? And Farrell points this out. What did we have on the day? We had first our information comes from the government. We can't trust them, and then disseminated through the media. We can't trust them. So what do we get? The first thing we get was the RAAF, which is the Roswell Army Air Force. They captured a disc, okay, and that's put out in the media first. And then literally within about 6 hours in the same day, before the day is over, we get another report that says no, it was a balloon, right? So literally within the same day, we get two areas of focus. One is otherworldly beings crashed and we recovered the craft, and then the other is no, it's this it's just a balloon. It was just a Project Mogul weather balloon. So now you've got two camps of people doing research in two completely different directions. Neither one leads to the truth.
Yep, you split the difference, right? You it's divide and conquer. It's the false dialectic.
Anyway, I don't want to get into a big tangent into the Roswell thing that has nothing to do. Anyway, tonight I got a tip, and I haven't been able to follow up on it. So anybody listening, either leave me a comment if you decide to go digging into this rabbit hole. But not only is Richard Pauly, excuse me, and his family.
Little Freudian slip there.
Yeah.
That could be something.
So I got a tip that Devin Patrick Kelly, his family, is also connected to money and power in that town. Okay. And the only thing I've been able to find is that his dad is named Michael. And I think I got his mom's name. His dad was an accountant and software engineer. They have an $800,000 home in Sutherland Springs that apparently Devin stayed at for some period of time. apartment barn or whatever on the property.
Considering the fact that the property values don't seem to be really high in that area. I mean, the museum has to pay $400 a month for the property that they purchased. $800,000 is pretty impressive.
That's an important point, Amy. I think we always have to be cognizant of the way that money is valued, even within the United States, and how property values, like okay, I live in the Bay Area, right? $800,000 can buy you an apartment.
Yeah, that's peanuts.
Yeah, and never mind, in San Francisco proper, there's people paying upwards of $1 million, $1.5 million, perhaps even $2 million for a 1-bedroom apartment in San Francisco. But it is
okay. All right. Those are fair points, but this is not the difference between Mexico and America. I mean, value is value. If you have $1 million or tiny apartment in New York,
up to a point, Aaron, up to a point,
and you sell it for $1 million, you walk away with $1 million, and then you'd move to Texas. You can certainly buy a whole lot more for that $1 million, but it's still only $1 million. And if you want to sell it, it's still only worth that same $1 million.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, an $800,000 home in rural Texas. Take that same exact home, transplant it to the Bay Area. It might be a $10 million home.
20.
Right. Okay.
And that's a big shift. That's a big significant shift.
I guess my point is really that obviously they have got some whale of a house or whale of a property. You know, it's not you know, a 3-bedroom house. You know, it's something big and impressive.
I'd say the breadcrumbs lead to, okay, who was this guy? So software engineering, okay, that's interesting. This is making me think Batman shooter, and then all of the breadcrumbs that led to who was his dad, what was he working on, what are they involved in? I forget the specifics exactly, but it's yeah, it's all gold, right? It's not the thing that's on the surface, it's what it leads to.
So Henry has done some great work on Texas.
Not really.
Well, you I don't know if this was your catch or if you were just making a video on something you saw from somebody else, but looking at your page right now, you've got this video, and I've seen practically everything you put up in the last week or so. MSM is trying to play off as regular citizens. You caught that reporter talking to another reporter pretending to be a witness.
Yeah, Erica Hernandez, yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's the same video I'm thinking of, Henry, but somebody left a comment under one of your videos, and I might try to find it while we're talking here.
Okay.
I think the comment disappeared because when I went back and looked for it, it was gone, or maybe I just got confused and was looking at the wrong thread. But in one of your videos, you were showing some of the news clips, and in one of the news clips, they showed an image of the church, and I think it might have had the helicopter on the lawn, and you see the church in the background, and then there's this woman walking with a child, and they walk up to the side entrance and just walk right into the church.
Yep. Yeah. How is that possible?
Exactly. How is that not a completely cordoned off area?
Yeah. I mean, imagine how tragic that would be for that little kid to see like any type of blood. You know what I mean? Like I'm walking in. Yeah, like other little kids
all over. Oh my gosh.
The whole building should have been on lockdown.
Yeah.
Yep.
The whole block should have been.
Hey,
no one should have got that in close at all.
Exactly. In fact, you guys know Leak Project, Rex Bear? Yeah? You familiar with the Leak Project channel, Rex Bear? Um, he drove there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He
I
went
mean,
down there.
I don't agree with everything he says, but I mean, I like his work though, for sure.
I think he's a bit of a nut job, and I busted him. I've got a video or two calling him out. But anyway,
Yeah.
He supposedly drove down there, and he couldn't get close.
Yeah.
He got kicked out. They wouldn't even let him anywhere near that place.
Wow.
So
You think my
Out
drone
of a
will be?
lady and a kid walking right up and going in.
some woman just walks up, with a, I don't know,
Yeah.
6-7-year-old child. They just walk right in the side entrance.
Yeah.
I
And you could
think
definitely. Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
I think there's your sign, right? It's these like sort of concentric circles of access to where you have to really pay attention. So there's a whole bunch of people that shouldn't be there. Then there's a border area or a enclosure where or another zone where, okay, so that one kind of makes sense, and then outside of that is going to be another zone where it doesn't make sense again. So like if these things are real events, it really should look consistent all throughout. And then I have very good photographers. This kind of a thing, right? So you have to also take under consideration how the footage, how the scenario is managed, how it's all edited, in order for it to appear real. But they never get it quite right in these sort of in a staged event. And so yeah, it's fun to pick through it and look for discrepancies and look for errors and gosh, sometimes you can find hundreds. Yeah,
definitely agree, Bart. But I mean, I have family members, right? And they're like into like CSI, or they love these like murder mystery kind of thing, or like, some drama, right? I'm like, why don't you just look at this and pick it apart and try to do that? You know what I mean? Use that same analogies, the same skills that you have, and apply it to this. But they won't even touch it. It just baffles me. But yeah, the people just standing in the front, the people not sobbing, the people not in hysterical, watching 20 plus of their church members laying on the floor dead, is beside me. Definitely just like Sandy Hook, when those people just kept walking out of that building. It was just like another day, and they were just walking around in circles. So, this is the same situation.
Have you guys seen, there's an image. Yeah. Jim Fetzer has this image, okay? There's a cop sitting on the pews, one of the back row pews, and he's reclined. He's like sitting back with his arm on the pew like this.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is in order.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a speck of trash on the floor. Everything is clean. Everything is in place. There's no body. You don't see anything but a bunch of empty pews and one cop sitting in the back row.
No blood spatter.
No blood splatter.
Wait, do you have that, Aaron? Where was that at?
I'll find it. I'll get it while we're talking.
Okay.
It was on I was listening to Jim Fetzer today. Let's see. It's on Gary King YouTube channel. It's Fetzer calls himself the conspiracy guy, and he does a show by himself.
Yeah, he's a shell. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Well, I'm very cautious to use that word like ever.
Oh, no, I'm kidding. I'm referencing.
I do know you're kidding. I want to expand on that for the point, because we have had Fetzer on the show a couple of times, and Fetzer was wrong about the wall in Dallas. I just want to make that clear. Fetzer was wrong. Okay, I'm not saying the guy's a shill. He's a human being. We make mistakes. Everybody making mistakes. But Fetzer is wrong about the wall in Dallas. And just in case Dana W. is listening, don't leave me any comments. Okay. You're a terrible communicator. You're a terrible communicator. You just don't know how to take a compliment.
That is for sure. I bumped heads with Dana, man. I don't know how many times.
He's a good guy, man.
Yep.
He
I
does.
love Dana, though.
He
I
does
love
great.
But-
I mean, he was all over Dallas when that thing went down.
for sure.
And
He was there. He was doing videos.
and he continues. He continues.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's almost like fanatical. He thinks that if we crack Dallas, that's going to be the be all end all.
Nah, no way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you say Dallas,
The shooting, that big shootout that happened where they had to send a robot in, they blew up the suspect. They exploded it.
R2D2 came to the rescue.
I'm sorry. What year was that? I'm not familiar with that incident.
Oh, good heavens. Wasn't it like last year?
I think it was last year, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, let me see if I can find it.
No,
No.
I think it was more than a year ago. Oh, here it is. I found it. All right, I'm going to share now. My turn.
Okay.
You know, let me throw in something like this. You know, back to that whole shill thing. I think this is just like about passion, right? So and then I think gaps can be exploited around passion, right? But humans are humans. Sometimes they're stubborn. Sometimes they're, you know, they can get something wrong for years on end, and then they come around. So again, give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Hold on as long as possible. Listen. Don't dismiss, because you know everybody has something to contribute to this. Let's not get hung up on you know, personality stuff, because we're all wrong about so many things, and especially dealing with investigating mysteries, right? There's 10,000 ways to be wrong.
Yeah. So, all right, check this out. You guys can see this, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we go any further, I want to make it clear that this is just a photo. There's no telling that this is actually that church.
Correct. Yeah,
And-
the mixing, and the matching, the assumption.
Unless you've been in the church and know that that's how it's set up and what it looks like.
And furthermore,
No idea.
even if this is the church, I've been to quite a few churches. As a contractor, I've been to quite a few churches doing just work. And many churches have multiple service rooms.
Yep.
They have more than one area where they have their worship services.
Yes.
Okay. So this might be a whole other wing of the church. Okay. So, Mr. Jim Fetzer, if you're listening, I want you to be aware that you went on and on about this picture, and I see no reason to believe that this was the actual room where the shooting took place, if the shooting took place. I don't believe it did, but nevertheless, assuming the shooting was real, this may not have actually been that particular room. Know what I mean?
For me,
Yep.
this is not worthy of more than a passing glance. This is
Right. I agree.
this is cartilage. Spit it out. Move on.
Well, for me, it's like, well, that adds a very small amount of probability towards fakery, but very, very small.
Well, it doesn't prove anything. Jim Fetzer is
Yeah.
a big shot. He's got a big name. A lot of people put their stock in Jim Fetzer, and when he says something, they just take it as the, you know, the gospel truth.
Gospel.
You know what I mean? No pun
Yep.
intended. But the
Mhm.
fact is, he shows a picture, and it's not proof of anything. Kind of like the wall in Dallas, right? Fetzer says they photoshopped the wall. They didn't.
Yeah.
No, they did not.
So, I mean, this is just another example that it's just not proof of anything.
I was only half joking with Fetzer, and again, I'm gonna rely on the Pareto distribution, right? It's 80-20. So if I can see him as wasn't he with Veterans Today? And then isn't there a whole big thing that he was like
Yes.
got fired by rents and all of this infighting and all of again. I've been
Becker is not afraid to climb out on a limb. Okay, let's just put it that way. He'll climb out on a limb
but maybe he's not
that are not really verifiable in some cases.
Okay, but maybe he's not afraid because he knows it's bull. I'll leave it at that.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Look, just because something is bullshit, and if you believe that it to be bullshit, doesn't mean that you can go out on a limb and make wild claims that are unsubstantiated, because you're hurting the cause.
That's what I'm saying.
You're not only labeling yourself, you're not only putting a tag and a label on yourself as someone who spreads misinformation or disinformation, but you hurt the entire cause.
That would be my point exactly, Aaron.
I mean, so does that make him an idiot or does that make him a shill? I mean,
I don't know. I whatever.
Is he doing it on purpose or is he doing it because he's paid to do it? You know what I mean? Is it an accident? Is it a mistake? Or is he on the payroll? You know what I mean? We'll never know. We'll never know the answer. But there it is. So let's.
It's never wrong to ask the question.
Right. So what about the shooter? You guys. You familiar with the background of this shooter escaped from a mental facility after sneaking guns onto an Air Force base? This is the story. We got Henry. He's a military guy. He's been on and off an awful lot of bases. Henry, do you have to sneak guns onto a military base? I thought military were okay with guns.
Yeah, I don't know where you're gonna sneak in guns. They don't actually search for guns when you go through the. I've been to San Diego. I've been to like Air Force Base over in Alaska. I've been to all over the place, and they don't. You're not gonna go in there. They're gonna, hey, you're sneaking in guns. That's ridiculous, right?
That's ridiculous, right? This is the story.
Come on, guys.
It's like sneaking food out of a restaurant.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you got like a big old nuke. Yeah, unless you got a big old nuke in the back of your trailer, then you know there'll be some sort of paperwork. But that's about it, guys.
Yeah, I thought the military, they were okay with guns.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes no sense. Okay, so here, let me go on with this. Check it out. I thought it was odd that, and this comes from a Washington Post article, that he was charged in 2014 for a misdemeanor animal cruelty, and then he was charged. I think he had 2 charges for. Let me see. He was investigated twice for abuse on women. In 2013, he was subject of an investigation for sexual assault and rape. But apparently he passed the background check to be a security guard at the RV park.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Now, it was an unarmed position, okay? It was just, walk the grounds, make sure the doors are locked, call the cops if someone gets rowdy, but the articles and the news reports are saying that he passed a background check. He passed a background check to be security guard at this RV park.
Hey, I'll say it like this. Back in the day, a good friend of mine had a roommate. This guy was a total criminal, total scumbag. Guess what his major was at college? Criminal justice. Criminal justice. So one thing doesn't really point to the other. In fact, I think it says something. It says something about something.
Yes.
Okay, so real quick, I just want to throw this back out in case anybody else is interested in digging into the Kelly family background, because I got a tip that his family comes from money and power. This was the message I got. His father is Michael Kelly, computer programmer and accountant, and I'm pretty sure that his mom's name is Susan E. Kelly, and that's as far as I could get. I just couldn't get any further on that one, and it got late, and I haven't been back to digging into that rabbit hole. Okay, so the pastor was out of town. Is that a red flag for everybody or not?
Yep.
That's definitely a red flag.
The main pastor was out of town.
Big red flag.
Yeah.
Doesn't prove anything.
Yeah.
No,
the husband
but
and the
it is-
wife, though.
It is a flag.
So I hear that this 14-year-old daughter of the pastor who was killed, what's her name? Amanda, I think. Something like that. I've got it written down somewhere else. Pastor's 14-year-old daughter was killed. I hear, and I haven't confirmed this, I hear she had no social media profile whatsoever.
Highly unlikely. That isn't a proof, but boy, is that unlikely.
That
is.
Here's what I think. It's tied into whatever we were talking. Okay, sneaking guns onto a military base, right? This is just when you have to pay attention to what's the language that's being used, what little phrases are in there. If they're nonsense, and then it's a couple things that make sense, and then a thing that's nonsense, and then a couple more things, and then you know that something smells fishy.
Yes.
So just use your bullshit meter, right? Always have your bullshit meter on.
Yeah. Hey, I had a question, you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a trip that's heading out that way. Do you guys think I should stop by there?
If I could reach to my computer and smack you, I would do it if you didn't.
Yes.
Look, Henry.
I mean that guy from what's his name? Life Leak Project or something like that.
Rex.
I mean, he went there and Rex Project. So he got there and he kicked them out. So I was wondering if I could get out there, stop, like a roll-by or something.
Well, look, if you do stop by there, make sure you get some video of the church. Look for bullet holes. Talk to people. Go into a restaurant and talk to some people. Make sure you get everything on video. Everything. Just talk.
All right.
Just talk to people. Look for bullet holes. That's the big thing. And Henry, I got to commend you. You on one of your videos, you were talking about how the shooter, the story of the shooter when in several of his interviews. And by the way, if you've listened to multiple interviews from the hero guy, he's given a bunch of interviews, and it sounds scripted. He says so many of the identical things. He just repeats. It's it sounds very scripted. But you pointed out this guy has said that when they chased the guy down and he finally pulled over, that the hero guy, he gets out and he trains his gun on the car and he's saying, get out of the car, and he got no response. And then the cops showed up and the cop said the same thing, yelled, get out of the car. The hero, he says, I put my gun down, I started to back away, and the cop said, not you, and I picked my gun up.
Yeah.
Take it away, Henry.
I mean,
that's
guys,
bullshit, dude. That is
straight up BS. You guys ever look at real, I live by LA, you know what I mean? It's LA County is where I live, you know what I mean? So definitely we've seen so many gun takedowns. People, even my close families and friends, been in car chases, you know what I mean? High speed chases. I mean, this is not reality. You guys know that, right? He's holding an AR-15 and the cops are there and saying, no, you hold on to your gun. It makes no sense. And then if people cannot realize that is absolute 100% fraud, I really don't know what to say. But I'm gonna my trip's coming up soon, and I'm really gonna try my best to take that 87, whatever that road he was taking, that 87 freeway or something like that. So I'm gonna take that route right to them, and I'm gonna see what happens. And you guys definitely know I'm a man of action. You know what I mean? I like movement, right? I don't just sit on my ass on the front of the computer and just type crap all day and reply and think I'm doing something. I was part of Occupy LA. I was part of the Anon movements over here in California, Southern California. We did a lot of marches against GMOs, vaccines, And then you guys just saw my recent thing with calling out Johnny Smith, right, over here in Long Beach, you know. So that's why we all need to start having this type of movement, you know.
Well, I will say one thing. You know, part of my problem is that I have psoriatic arthritis, so it's really hard for me to go marching anywhere. And I also have no transportation, and am not really having any way of funding any transportation. So, you know,
Totally understandable. Yeah.
I do the best I can, which is sit on the computer all day and tell people about a solution to these psychopaths in control.
I think everybody do what you can, do what you're best at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And make alliances with people who do other things that you can't do. So that
Exactly.
we are all proxies for each other, as long as we're talking about being good humans, our hearts, having clear minds. That's it. We all did, and just support each other, cheer each other on in whatever capacity
each other's work.
we choose to engage in. This is not a direct response to you, Henry, but I've never participated in a march in my life, only because that's not me. That's not what I am interested in. For anybody who's marching and they're doing it sincerely, you got my blessing, but that's not for me.
Yeah, definitely, Bart, for sure.
Once in San Diego many years ago, before I really got bad, when I was actually able to march. March for peace. So
Hey Amy. Hey Amy.
Yeah.
Here, I got the solution for you. You guys are actually in my my back room here.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll show you this here. I make these now, and then me and Aaron was talking about the other day. This is cannabis oil right here, 100%
awesome.
organic cannabis oil. If you ever come to California, I have some for you. I make these are pennies on the dollar. So
really?
I tell you, I used to use cannabis regularly as a pain medicine. It worked beautifully. I loved it. I always felt good. And then all hell broke loose in Georgia, and I wound up having to move up here to Long Island. And I don't have any money, and I don't have any connections. So I've been living over a year now without my medicine, which is a challenge, but I get through it.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, I don't want to derail the conversation, but Amy, do me a favor. Hop on over to your channel. Look in the comment section under your most recent video when they say rule of law, that video. And,
okay.
And see if my comment is there, because I'm there and it's not.
All right, hold on. I will see if I can remember how to get there from other format. Okay. Blah. And
yeah, just let me know. Like I said, I don't want to. I'm not trying to derail the conversation. It's not a big deal.
It's like no, I'm not. I am not seeing your comment. And
you're not seeing it?
No. Let me go
really?
to yeah. Really. Let me see if I have any comments in my spam operation. Huh. Now I know you left a comment that said something like "good work, young lady."
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it now. And no, you are not in spam. Okay. Are we being messed with?
I remember seeing that comment. Good work, young lady.
It's
Yeah.
not there. And I sure as hell didn't delete it.
I will testify. I saw that.
Yeah, I know it was there. I know it was there. I gave it a heart and everything.
Interesting. Yeah,
I
of course
remember
we're
it
being
very
messed
clearly.
with. Wait, how many times do we have to go over
No.
that?
I'm not seeing my comments anywhere that I had where I know I left comments.
Right.
What about on my
Whoa.
channel? Let's see here.
Whoa. That's scary, Aaron.
I know you just commented.
Now, I'm on my now I know for sure I commented on your My Life Here in America was created. I know that I said something in that. And
I'm going to pop out and have a smoke, y'all, and I'll be back while you sort this out.
I'm not there.
No, you're not there. You're not. I've looked at it both.
No, I mean I'm on Henry's channel right now. I'm on.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just looking at what I've gotten. I went top comments and then went by. Yeah, I'm not seeing it, hon. Okay, we are so being messed with.
Wow, this is I don't even know what to make of this, but anyway.
Freaky.
I don't see your comment, Aaron, at all. I don't see it here. I went through all.
Thank you, YouTube.
Wow.
Boo hiss.
Oh, you guys also too. You guys know I want to take the trip out there, right? And yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed. Yesterday they said that they're gonna go ahead and demolish the building.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Gee, does that remind us of anything?
I think they just pulled the scripts they just dusted off the Sandy Crooks.
Let me guess. They're going to get a grant to build a beautiful, wonderful church.
Oh, oh my God.
I just have this feeling that that's in the script somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, it was especially if they build a big old church and if that pastor runs it, I mean, in Truth by Grace already broke that down where that pastor is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Oh yeah.
No doubt.
He talked about like he had that. You guys saw that video where he had like a Harley in front of the whole congregation, like a big old Harley.
I haven't seen any videos about the pastor yet. I guess I just missed them.
It's their Sunday service. It's their Sunday service. They record it every Sunday. So he talking about praying for witches and like celebrating Halloween, which is like a pagan holiday, and he's like doing all kinds of stuff up there. This is a fallen church that they're gonna walk you to the lake of fire, really. But if they get that fund to build that huge, massive church there, that'll be probably the best place to put it. You know what I mean? So all these surrounding cities could go there. Well, yeah. Let's see here.
So let me ask you guys a question. What do you know about if your channel is deleted, if it's terminated, do all your comments disappear?
I wouldn't think so. Wait a minute. Yes, they do.
Amy, go over to my main channel and see if I'm still there.
Will do.
Because I went looking for my main channel because I wanted to share. I wanted to screen share the discrepancy that I found, that video I put up the other day. I wanted to do a screen share just now, and not only can I not find my own channel.
Oh no.
Is it gone? No way.
Oh my God. I see Roofuscat with 3 subscribers. Is that you? Here, hold on.
No, that's you. You might be looking at a very, very old
okay.
Roofuscat channel.
Aaron,
But
I have a bad news for you.
Oh
I just
no.
went to your main channel. It says this account has been terminated for violating YouTube's community
gosh.
guidelines.
Wow. On air.
Yep, we have
Dang.
found out on air.
Wow.
Dang.
Dang, yeah, that's craziness.
Holy shit.
Yep, they. Who knows what they nailed you for?
Man. Aaron, why don't you go to your Gmail really quick? They're gonna give you that notification. Go to your Gmail, and they're gonna tell you which one that got to that last flag. I remember you had 2, right? They gave you 2 in a row or something like that. Or?
Yep.
It says suspended. When I open up my alternate.
Oh yeah, you're right. They won't show you. They suspend the whole thing.
Holy shit.
Is suspended like for a length of time or forever or what? What does suspended mean?
I don't even know, and I don't want to spend the rest of the show trying to figure it out. I don't even know.
Well, now we know why you're not showing up, hun.
Damn.
Yes, I agree.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to show you what I found. Henry, you already know, but I know that there are people watching who haven't seen it. So,
okay.
Crowder. I'm going to go over to Steven Crowder. I wonder if that was why, because I was using I used a little tiny clip from Steven Crowder's interview. I wonder if it was a copyright.
Well, I don't know.
It shouldn't be, right? It's fair use. I'm not monetized.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's really weird. And
I mean, yeah, that's the video where Henry left me a comment. He said that red pen is a truther. It'll be terminated. You were right, Henry. My pen got terminated.
Yep.
What are you talking about? I thought that was the Roofuscat, the new channel. That was your old one?
No, that was my main channel. I put that on.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yep.
How did? No way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Off of just pointing with the pen.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder. Let me see if I can.
I should have downloaded it. I forgot to download it.
Hey, you know what? Screw this. I don't have to do it that way. The way I'm doing it here. I'm going to go ahead and screen share, and I'm going to see if I can get it, because I do have my computer. So I put that over there. I'm going to put this away, and should be right here.
That's a nice wallpaper.
Okay, so listen.
I'm a block away or less than a block.
Can you hear that?
They're catty cornered behind me.
Yes.
A house behind me, and they're across the street on the other side. Okay. And so I ran over there, and I ran across the neighbor's house that was right across from there. And as I approached the neighbor's house, I see a gray SUV sitting in the middle of the highway in park with the engine running and the driver's side door open. And it was out of place. And I was focused on that, trying to figure out that and kind of looking back behind the vehicle. And I don't know that I had tunnel vision or what the deal was, but I saw the shooter come around the front of the vehicle. Okay. And at this time, he had a handgun in his.
So there, he said he saw the shooter come around the front of the vehicle. Now, this article is from the Washington Post. This is Florida Brown. She was inside the church. She was saying that the shooter was finishing people off and she was ready to die. The headline says she thought she was her turn to die. And then outside a man appeared. And she says, up till that point, or it says Florida Brown had only sustained shots to her legs, but as the shooter fired into the woman next to her, Florida Brown prepared to be slain. At that moment, she heard a shot fired from a different man at the front door. It was Williford's presence that distracted Kelly. Now, you just heard Kelly with his own words say that he saw the shooter come around the front of the vehicle. He didn't mention anything about going to the front door and popping a cap in that guy's ass while he was about to finish off Florida Brown, right?
That's right.
Yep.
100%. Yeah.
So, sorry, but somebody's lying. And you want to strike my new channel? Freaking do it. The truth is the fucking truth, and I'm not going to stop speaking it. So there you go. Somebody's lying.
Yep.
So I mean, obviously this shooter, the hero with no shoes on, trying to put a handful of 223 rounds in his magazine and running towards the church is absolute ridiculous. And the storyline is actually blown all apart, just like Vegas. So that's it. We can wrap it.
I'm back, y'all.
Welcome back.
What's the topic in one sentence?
Well, I just I showed the video that I'll do it again for you, Bart. The video that apparently got me terminated. This is a quote from Washington Post. A woman named Florida Brown. She said she Farida, sorry. Had only sustained shots to her legs, but the shooter fired into the woman next to her. Farida Brown prepared to be slain. At that moment, she heard a shot fired from a different man at the front door. It was Williford's presence that distracted Kelly. Now here is Williford himself.
Yes, I did watch this video.
You did watch? Okay.
I did, yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to.
So you just got terminated like recently.
Like live. I just found out while on the show that my main channel was either terminated or suspended.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's kind of that thing that I was talking about, Amy, about like your subscribers dropping off. That might not be like a direct attack. It might be an indirect.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all part of the. Yep. It's all part of the terrain.
I'm sure my subscribers numbers went down by one for that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So the fact that attached to that is Aaron's comment that gets wiped out too. I think it's interesting to well, not interesting. It's important to talk about that. That's how this thing works. So that we know that that's how it works. And
all your comments. Once your channel goes down, all your comments disappear.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. But all right.
Well, that's their way of 1984ing us.
Yep.
Just
squeeze,
get rid of the data.
Yeah, the squeeze is on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you guys. Oh, sorry, Bart. You guys definitely know I'm working on something, a new platform, anyways. Coming something like YouTube, and man, it's crazy how God brings people in our lives, and the the new platform is gonna take off. I'm telling you guys right now, it's in the works. We you know, there was some people that need to be added on to this project, and it's and they're a good brother in Christ, and you guys are definitely gonna see some new things coming out soon. So, and no, and there won't be hardly any censorship because we own it.
Nice.
Awesome, awesome.
I'm gonna try to connect a little tighter with you, Henry, and see if there's anything that I can offer in the way of help, support, and I look forward to seeing where that might could go.
Yeah, definitely, Bart. I would love you guys. I mean, Amy, Aaron, if you guys definitely have a spot on there, man. So definitely,
keep us posted, bro.
There'll be advertisement, so monetizing, whatever you guys want to do. There's gonna be some opportunities to make money off that channel. So definitely, man. Just hopefully we can just pray and let this thing happen.
Right on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that this was something I touched on last show. It's the idea of you know, you put out a platform, or you make a show, you have a run, and then not you. I think I was using the example of like Alex Jones, right? So when he was fresh, that attracted a lot of attention. It probably attracted as much good attention as bad attention. Perhaps it got swayed one way or another. Then at some point, some folks are looking at this and going, you know what? This used to be better. It took a weird turn. Now it's my turn to do a better version of what he was doing. And so you had 10, 20 people doing that, saying, I can do an improved version of that. And then that's how it goes. It's almost like evolution, or actually evolution is. I know that's a hot button topic with some people who are taking a critical look, and I'm taking a critical look myself. I actually like the term adaptation as a sort of fair, not replacement for it, but at least as an alternative sort of term.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good, Bart.
So, is there a difference between being suspended and being terminated? I mean, if you're suspended, I don't even know. I'm going to have to go look at their damn rules, and whatever their rules are, it's bullshit because they don't follow their own rules anyway.
Well, it does say it has been terminated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's gone.
Yep.
So when you go there, it says terminated.
Yes.
Well, that explains why all my comments are gone.
Yeah, like building sandcastles, right? The tide rolls in, and
pretty much, I tell you.
Well, that's a bit too fickle and too unstable, and I think okay, this is testimony to the idea that okay, this is not the best platform anymore. So everybody who's serious, start taking a look at alternatives. Double up on stuff. Double up, triple up. Yeah, I guess we just got to work harder.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with stuff, you know, making you have to work harder and better. That's how we learn. That's how we grow.
I've been putting my stuff on VidMe, and I think I have some stuff up on Dailymotion, and I have some stuff up now on BitChute, and I finally managed to work the problem with Steemit, so for some reason I have to be approved to get on Steemit, which is kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same here.
So I guess I'm waiting to be approved for Steemit. And we'll see where that goes.
Gatekeepers.
Yeah. Be careful with be careful with VidMe though. Be careful with it.
So Henry, have you found out anything else on this Texas thing?
Nah, nothing yet. I'll find out when I'm over there.
Well, I've got a curious thing that I'm not sure if it proves anything, but the story from this hero character, Williford, Stephen Williford, he says that, let me see, he talks about he didn't have time to put shoes on and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. Shoes again.
Now,
Yeah.
I've listened to a couple of his interviews. And like I said, not only does he repeat himself, which makes it easier to remember what he said, right? He said that he was in his bedroom, and when he heard the shots, it sounded like someone tapping on the window.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's remember that this is an NRA certified gun instructor.
That's there.
Tapping on the window.
There's your sign. It sounded like pots falling. It sounded like.
Okay, so according to Stephen Williford, he says his daughter came in and she said, "Dad, doesn't that sound like gunshot?" And he comes out into the living room, and he says, "As I moved from one room to the other, it did sound like gunshots." And he said, "So I ran into my room, I opened my safe, I got my gun, I grabbed a handful of bullets, and I'm loading the cartridge on the way out the door." Right? And then he goes on to the emotional part where he says, "Every shot I heard, I know those people, and every shot I heard to me represented another life potentially," right? So this is a guy who's in a hurry. They didn't even got time to put shoes on. Okay? But in the same story, so he's in his bedroom, his daughter comes in, she says, "Dad, does that sound like gunshots?" So he says, when I heard and it sounded like gunshots, I ran into my room to get my safe. At that time, my daughter runs outside, gets in her car, drives around the block, comes back and says, "There's a guy shooting the church." The daughter says there's a guy in full tactical gear with an AR-15 shooting the church, is what she says, according to him.
Yeah.
So I'm a little confused as to, and then he says, "Call your mom." His mom, his wife, and his son-in-law and other daughter, they were 5 miles away on their other property, building a house. He says, "Call your mom. They're 5 miles away," to tell her to stay put. So they had time to do all that. But he didn't have time to put his shoes on. So
at least some flip-flops, yeah.
That sure sounds Masonic to me.
So these two things are happening simultaneously. One, he runs into his bedroom, opens his safe, gets his gun, and grabs some bullets. And at the same time, his daughter gets in her car, drives around the block, and comes back and tells him the scoop.
Yeah.
Right.
How long does it take to run into your bedroom and open up a gun safe, Henry?
Like 10 seconds.
Right. About 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah. But I mean, he grabs a handful of bullets, and one of the bullet manages from the outside when the assailant was getting in his car. One shot fired through the window managed to go through his ballistic facial gear and chest gear. I was like, come on now.
Just like in the movies, Henry, you got to understand that
Yes.
this is how reality really works in reality, right? Where the hero is up against 20 people with machine guns. Every single bullet they fire misses him completely. Meanwhile, every single shot he fires is fatal. immediately fatal.
Nails somebody. Absolutely.
Yeah,
That is
you
100%.
just got to get regrounded in reality, Henry.
Yeah. We got it. I need to watch more John Wick movie. Have you guys watched John Wick? Yeah, you guys definitely need to watch John Wick with
Yeah. Let's go a little wider here. I think that this is part of these operations, these psychological operations, where the whole point of it is to distort reality, so that people said, that's the way it happened on TV. That's the 800 last movies that I saw. It worked that way, and therefore I'm transferring that onto these news stories. That's why I trust them. Right, and it's almost like it's the inverse of what you were saying, Henry, earlier, which is like you have family members who watch CSI. You could watch any number of these investigative shows, real, true crime type shows, where they really actually spell out what the methodology is, and yet it's like people pay half attention to that, and when they put out this fictional stuff, it's like, well, yeah, I buy that too. Sure, seems legit. Okay, on to the next thing.
On to the next one. Yeah,
Oh, dear.
So you guys know that a lot of times these crisis actors have criminal backgrounds, right?
Oh yeah.
So the other hero, the cowboy guy with the truck, right? Williford jumps in. Johnny,
yeah.
Johnny's a felon, right?
Here we go. I knew something dirty. I knew something dirty about them.
Yeah, he's got a criminal record for sure.
Yeah.
Now look, let me just clarify. I'm not 100% for sure if he's a felon, but I saw his mugshot. He was arrested and he's got a criminal history. I mean, I've been arrested. I'm not a criminal, right? But I mean, shit, I've been arrested. I mean, it doesn't make me a felon, right? I'm not going to go shooting up a church, and it doesn't necessarily prove anything, but it's just another gem in the pile.
It totally is. Have you all let's rewind a bit. Boston bombing, Carlos Avedadro.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Whatever.
The cowboy hat. Yep.
Yeah, cowboy hat guy, right? Did you all ever follow up on what his background was? Absolutely crazy.
Oh, Carlos Arodon.
Con artist.
Yeah.
Man on fire, all this kind of stuff, right? So I think this gets into like a really important aspect to how these operations work within certain parameters, right? Where it's compromised individuals who, it's like you get jail time or you come and play this role for us.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's right.
We'll get rid of your
Yep.
yeah.
Well, you'll be expunged.
Yeah, and that's sort of the thing. It's like how do you extort compliance from people? That's one of the ways, right?
So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish.
Oh, I was just going to add the idea to this idea, right? Okay, so often when we talk about crisis actors, maybe what even in all of our wisdom and all of our analysis, what kinds of things are we still kind of getting wrong? Where are we still making certain assumptions about how things work, right? So like in the example of crisis actors, for me, and for a while until I came upon this idea, I was imagining that these are people pulled from just the regular civilian pool, where, okay, you sign up for this thing, they bring you in, give you a little bit of training, you sign an NDE, and then they got you. But I started expanding my thought process around, okay, so there's a company, it's a crisis actor company.
Mhm.
What if a vast majority of the folks that come in to be crisis actors are actually active military who that's their orders to go in and sign up for this stuff, right? So they're under orders already.
Yeah, was it what is it? Born Identity, like those, like that movie.
Yeah. Although, I mean, he's like, you know, a super soldier, right? I'm talking about like just regular enlisted folks, right? They're not off in foreign lands in those theaters of war, but they're on military bases. Well, you got to figure out some stuff for them to do. Well, the project that you pull them into is, okay, you go to this company, you sign up as a crisis actor, and you're doubly bound, right? Because you're already bound by military oaths and that whole system. And then you have no problem signing the NDE because your orders are to sign the NDE.
Yeah.
And you carry out and you participate in the operation. So
Yeah.
it's this double mouth shutting aspect to it. You see what I'm saying? Like because a lot of people say, okay, so if it's all these crisis actors, somebody's bound to spill the beans. Somebody's bound to come out and talk about this. Well, what if the scenario is a little bit more tightly controlled than you're supposed to assume it is?
Yeah, I like where you went with that, because you know, for a long time I thought like they just picked up people from the streets, or they just picked up people from somewhere like a company or whatever. But then I took it a step further and like starting from San Bernardino, or no, actually from Trayvon Martin. So Trayvon Martin was a setup through Masons, right? That's why Trayvon's father was what was it? I forgot what level he was, but he was a Grand Master Mason too, and from his lodge. So I was like, wow, how come George Zimmerman is actually a Judeo Freemason, right? So I was like, okay, that's a Freemason psyop. George Soros probably funded it somewhere, somehow, and they took off with it and became Black Lives Matters. And then I took it a step further, and I was like, okay, at San Bernardino shooting, right? You guys remember that guy that was doing the interviews on the outside? He had a Freemason hat on, and that was like a full lodge thing. So I was like, so then I was thinking like actually what Bart said, why are these guys silent after what they've done? So they took an oath, right? And especially the Masons, especially any man-made religions, right? Or they took an oath from their military, you know, that's their contract. So that's why people cannot talk. I remember Aaron called me out on it too. I have a security clearance clearance that I got through the Marines, right? But I can't talk about what I did in the Marines with that security clearance, and it's nothing huge. Aaron called me out on it. All it is just about weapons, weapon secrecy. That's about it. It's nothing about like, oh, I did an op out there, I did anything crazy out there. It's just about a weapon secrets, and that's all it is. But coming from like how these guys are silenced.
Yeah, correct. So if it works on that level, you just got to extrapolate. It works on a higher level or a lower level.
Exactly.
It's all about applying critical thought.
And then we took it to another level. Definitely.
And
that's why people always say, "Oh."
As
go ahead, Amy.
As people have often pointed out, they managed to keep the Manhattan Project pretty damn quiet for a fair length of time.
That's a good point, Amy.
Yeah.
And the only reason that it came out is that, I mean, once they started exploding things.
Yeah, kind of hard to keep that quiet.
Well, yeah, by the way, we've been doing this. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about this church for a few minutes. Henry, I know that you're a fan of In Truth by Grace, and I know that you communicate with her privately.
Yep.
She's got a couple of great videos, especially the last couple she put up, the Miss Mundragon video.
Yeah.
That's some weird shit going on in this church.
Yeah. I mean, she was trying to expose it from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And that hasn't been done in a while, because most of us are always from the outside in.
Yeah, she's doing some great stuff over there. And again, I'll take truth wherever I can find it. I'm not into the heavy religion stuff, man, but I still subscribe to people like her. Okay. And you know, 17 Stormy 17, or, you know, he's a freaking minister, and he's very religious.
Yeah.
I love that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll take truth wherever I can find it. So here's the thing. She found a couple of beautiful gems. One of them, the pastor can't remember the name of the associate pastor, which is Brian Holcomb, or the associate pastor. Yeah, when he calls him up to the pastor, he says John, and then Brian, and then John. Oh, you're going to be John today. Okay, Brian.
Okay. Yeah,
But
that's a dead giveaway.
But here's the thing. Brian Holcomb is dead, right? Isn't Brian Holcomb one of the? Does this guy? Here's what I want to know. And anybody listening, if you guys have looked into this, I'm curious. This pastor, John Holcomb and Brian Holcomb, are they twin brothers? Because
the old prestige trick, huh?
I know, man. I hate these. Yep.
Because I've seen a photo of this guy, Brian Holcomb, and his wife, claimed to be dead. And I think it's the channel Truth Seeker who posted faces and names of 24 of the 26 dead people. And Brian Holcomb is on that list, and his picture is there. He's wearing an orange shirt, and he looks like that other pastor from, you know, In Truth by Grace has shown several of the videos from inside the church. That weird looking pastor with the big hairy face and beard. The guy who said he's smiling when he's talking about, you know, we could take box cutters and we could blow up a building and we could shoot up a school.
Now Padre with his beautiful bride celebrating their.
Sorry, guys. I'm pulling up that video for you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Hold on one second.
Yeah, so the pastor, when he calls the guy up, he's confused. He doesn't know if is it John or is it Brian. And then
that's pretty fishy.
And then it turns out, I think Brian Holcomb is one of the supposed dead. And he sure as hell looks like the other guy with less face hair. So I don't know if they're brothers or if they're twins.
One was manufactured.
Yeah. This stuff is funky. It's kind of reminding me. It looks like you're ready for the video, so I'll hold out.
Go ahead, Henry. I got you.
I'm going to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Place this morning. Well, you can't take his place, but you'll come. John's going to come and be John. Well, you are John Holcomb, so this is your day, brother.
Back it up and do it again, Henry, because he said something about Brian is out of town or John's out of town.
Morning. People asking me when that was going to come to be. All right, I think that's enough announcements this morning. I'm going to ask Brian to come up. John is in South Padre with his beautiful bride celebrating their anniversary, so take his place this morning. Well, you can't take his place, but you'll come. Oh, there you go. John's going to come and be John. Oh, you are John Holcomb, so this is your day, brother.
That is some freaky weird shit right there, dude.
That is very weird.
You either know the guy or you don't. What is
He's saying Brian was out of town. When I don't know what service this was. So we're saying Brian was out of town.
I think he said John is out of town.
John is out of town.
John was out of town, and then he says, "Oh, you are John, so this is your day." What?
Oh wait, do it. Play it again, Henry. I think he said.
I'm just so confused right now. Still.
Do it again. Do it again.
Hold on.
This morning, I'm going to ask Brian to come up. John is in South Padre with his beautiful bride celebrating their anniversary.
Yeah, John's out of town.
His place.
Yeah, John's out of town. Yeah.
Well, you can't take his place, but you'll come. It's going to come and be John. Oh, you are John Holcomb, so this is your day, brother.
So how in the world did he just say that he's out of town?
Exactly. I mean, it
That
just
is
makes
wild.
gross sense.
Damn.
I think I'm gonna chalk it up to just sort of a dumb guy that misspeaks a couple times, right? He's trying to make a joke of like,
Henry,
you
play
are
the other one.
guy, you're not this guy, but there might be more to it than that. But I don't think there's a whole lot there.
Henry, play the other one where he confuses the age of his own daughter or the what school year she's in.
Okay. Oh, here the numbers don't add up. Yeah, hold on.
Let me caveat that by saying, if they're sort of, acting and staging, yes, that could also be the cause of the confusion. But it's kind of like that SS thing.
His daughter was Annabelle, and he said 4th grade, and was corrected, and then he said, "I don't know. I had the neighbor boy in mind."
Okay.
Wow.
That's pretty weird, right there.
Isn't that's their only kid, right? I mean, yeah.
And then he said to somebody, whoever was correcting him or whatever off camera, he said, "Don't look at me like that." I mean, seriously crazy shit, dude. I think it's the Miss Mundragon video. It is.
Oh, okay.
It's the Miss Mundragon. It is, because he's talking about Annabelle talking to her school principal, organizing a fundraiser or something.
Okay, let's roll tape then.
Well, kudos to Annabelle. It was Annabelle's thought pattern. I had nothing to do with it, but just something that you guys can continue to, maybe your work or school. The other day from school, and she talked to Miss Mundragon, which is the counselor and the principal, and between the two of them, she asked them if they could put together a toy drive at the school. Well, it was Annabelle's thought pattern. I had nothing to do with it. You guys can continue to.
Is this a vid?
School. Annabelle came home the other day from school, and she talked to Miss Mundragon, which is the counselor and the principal, and between the two of them, she asked them if they could put together a
People
toy
in the
drive at
chat
the
are
school.
saying they can't hear it, and I can't see it because you're not screen sharing.
Really?
Yep.
Am I not on screen share? Can you see it
Doesn't
now?
look like
There it is.
there it is. And
Amy?
is the volume?
Hello?
Yeah, I can see it now. I can see it now. You're screen sharing now.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Talked to Miss Mundragon, which is the counselor
Can
and
you
the
turn
principal.
up the sound?
And she asked them if they could put together a toy drive.
It's not playing. Go ahead, Henry.
What happened?
I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
No, we weren't able to hear you for a while there.
I
Yeah,
don't
we
even know
couldn't hear
what is
anything.
going on. Can you guys still see my screen or?
I was going to start whistling
No.
a tune.
No,
You're not sharing now.
you're not sharing now.
Okay, let's try this one more time. If not, I mean, you guys probably have to run this for me. I don't know what's going on my end.
Our dear friends at YouTube who are getting weird.
I know.
Okay,
Yeah, they're not really liking it right now.
now. I see it now.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Yeah, this is not working. Oh my gosh.
Well, anyway, what's the idea here? This is the pastor from that church, that Texas church. Is that the idea?
He's talking about what I'm pretty sure is his own daughter. Okay, Annabelle.
Mm-hmm.
And the way
who allegedly is the 14-year-old daughter that died.
Yeah.
Well,
and the way he talks about her, it really sounds like it's his daughter because he says she comes home from school. I had nothing to do with it, and he's telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says 4th grade, and then he's corrected. Somebody off camera corrects him, and then he goes, "Oh, 5th, no, 6th grade." And then he laughs and giggles.
Oh dear.
And then he says, "I don't know. I had the neighbor boy in my mind."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then he says to the person who corrected him, he says, "Will you quit looking at me like that?"
Mm-hmm. Okay, so shady goings on.
Very
not keeping their story straight.
Yeah, that's especially for your own daughter. Come on. Okay, but yeah, I want to see if this one plays. Hold on one second right here. Let me see here. This one. You guys.
Morning on the internet, on our Facebook page, I thought eloquently grabbed exactly what we were thinking. We have had a long night with our children. We have left.
It's playing, but it's choppy.
Yeah, I'll stop it on my end. I really don't know what's going on. Really good service here, but I don't know. Just her going through her notes and just reading a script, and she talks about, she does talk about her daughter, but then she talks about, our church now will be like it's fully damaged. Our church just talks about the church, right? But I mean, who cares?
Look, I'll say it this way: if a family member of mine were tragically killed in a mass casualty event, for real, there is absolutely no way I would even be at a podium talking to the media.
Exactly.
Next day.
Exactly. No, and if somebody forced me to, I would be sobbing. And tears would go every which way, and I would barely be coherent.
But here's the thing: who would force you to? Who would ever?
I agree. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I
presuming
for
some reason I'm forced.
I get it.
That's how I.
But I'm saying in the scenario of real world humans, who would ever force you to stand up at a podium and make comments?
Well, I'm sure no one would. That was just
I think I'm meeting your hypothetical with my hypothetical.
I know where you're going, Bart. Who would force you if you were under contract? If you were military, then you'd be forced. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that we continue to see this sort of
unhuman, unnatural behavior play out. And again, I think this is all designed to keep that pattern going so that it becomes normalized or hyper-normalized, so that we come to expect it, so that we come to expect the improbable, and that continues to disrupt neural connections in our minds, and again, to make us more vulnerable and more susceptible to lies and propaganda and gamesmanship, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and I for one don't like it.
I don't consent to it.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that game at all. I find it really insulting and really heartless, and it really bugs me. It really bugs me. I'm really hoping that soon we'll see some people cracking under their guilt and coming out and admitting what they've participated in.
Here's the problem with that.
I'm not holding out for it.
The great number of the people who are involved in this are psychopaths. Okay, they're at 1%. Genetic psychopaths are approximately 3 million in this country, so they have plenty of people to choose from. And psychopaths never, ever, ever have remorse. Ever.
That's right.
No, and they have psychological profiles so that when you sign up to be a crisis actor, if you sign up to be a military, if you sign up to be anything in government or law enforcement, there's a rigorous interview and application process. And many of the questions on those forms and many of the questions in the interview portion are designed to psychologically profile you. So this is how people are pooled to do these jobs.
And it's 100%. Like, and I think that the conventional wisdom around that would lead the average person to suspect that what they're trying to do is filter out people with psychopathic, narcissistic problems and dispositions. But in fact, what they want to do is actually pull them in and have them in order to be utilized. So again, that's very cynical. That's very heartless. And again, I don't like it.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, one of my buddies in DHS, he one of their interviews question is to pass to become a DHS officer is like these scenarios they put you through, and they like kind of Aaron what it said is like they're gonna ask you like, hey, you got your close buddy here, and he's he's pocketing some money from the from so XYZ whatever. Okay, so what would you do? You know what I mean? That's how they get you with these questions, and they're gonna profile you and put you. Oh yeah, this guy's a good candidate for like a honey trap. You know what I mean? Or someone that's going to be hiding secrets for their company commander. Bam, put that he's going to get put in that position. So that's how it works.
Absolutely. Not to mention the background check. If you have any sort of activity in your background, like perhaps a criminal past, you've been picked up for drugs, or you maybe had a theft charge. Even if you were like a teenager when it happened, that kind of shit. So yeah, you're absolutely profiled, and they pick out the people that they think that they can work with, and then they might say, look, I'm going to recommend you for a promotion, but you need to go talk to this guy and have an interview before you get the promotion. And it's just another layer of more psychological profiling, so they can see how much of a fucking psychopath you really are and what they can really do with you.
Yep.
I mean, on one hand though, on one hand, it's despicable. But on the other hand, it is it could be related to this idea of keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And yeah, I mean, I could go off onto tangents with that, but
I'm not
yeah.
thinking so much keep your enemies closer. I really think it's more of a who can we use?
Yeah. If,
But are we really surprised though? I mean, you guys talked last week about oh crap, it just left my head. Oh crap, I hate when that happens. Are we really surprised that the world is run by psychopaths? Yeah, I remember now. You guys were talking last week about normal people, good people are not willing to kill to get ahead, per se,
mm-hmm.
while criminal psychopathics will. Mm-hmm. They'll start wars and they'll kill and slaughter children and they'll do all the horrible things that we talk about. Is it any wonder that good people cannot, are at a loss? We're at a complete loss to deal with this because we're not willing to go and kill the people we know need to be killed.
Yeah, that's how I framed it. And
that's one reason why I came up with my solution, because it doesn't require us to kill any. It requires us to give them power away, get rid of it, eradicate it. And once that happens, have no more power than any other individual and will answer for their personal behavior individually. When that happens, they, especially
Amy,
with the they're not going to be able to get away with a whole lot.
Amy, we've been over this, you and I. I disagree because there are still many aspects of persuasion and coercion to be employed.
Agree, Aaron, that there is a fair amount of that, but they have to do it personally, number one.
That's how it's done anyway. It's personal. Yes, it is. No. Money doesn't do anything on its own, Amy. People get hired, people have interviews, people talk to people, people profile other people, people get promoted, people get blackmailed. This is person to person. It's a one-on-one basis, one at a time.
I understand that, but the money flows in a line. It's not the people at the top talking to the people at the bottom.
We've talked about, the people who have criminal backgrounds that are used as crisis actors. That doesn't involve money. That's making a deal. You won't go to jail, and you do this for us.
Yeah,
that doesn't involve money.
You have the money to control the situation.
No, this doesn't involve money. This involves people being blackmailed.
Yeah, I mean, it could be money. It could be food. It could be shelter. It could be any.
It could be jail. It could be death.
I understand that, but in the situation where everybody has as much as they want, they're not going to be able to use food because food is freely available. They're not going to be able to use shelter because shelter will be freely available. They're not going to be able to use because water will be freely available.
Amy, even without money, we still have psychopaths, and psychopaths are still going to rape, murder, and kill.
Well, yeah, and they'll be and people.
And they will be blackmailed. The low level psychopaths will get in trouble by the law for raping a child or murdering their girlfriend, and then deals get made. What?
In the law, Aaron, you're not understanding. There isn't anything but the 3 laws of ethics, and the people who care.
Amy, I understand your 3 laws of ethics. I understand. I really do understand.
And solve for the problem of any individual breaking them, irrespective of psychopathy.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Could I jump in here
even in a world of abundance, the 3 laws of ethics that you speak of is still preventing people from doing certain things like harming other people or raping a child. And yet,
Yeah.
and yet we still have pedophiles and psychopaths that are still going to want to do that because it's the naughty thing to do, and they're getting away with something and whatever.
I understand that, but when they're found out, you can bet people will solve for them.
No, that's too much of a leap, Amy. People will solve for them is not a good answer.
Solve ethically for them. Put them in jail.
Can I jump in here?
Put them in jail, and then somebody comes along, somebody from a position of power comes along and says, "Look, I'll get you out of this jail sentence."
What position of power?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the people who operate the jail. Maybe the politicians. We're still going to need politicians. Somebody's still going to have to.
No politicians. There's no.
Somebody's still going to have some form of government. They're still going to.
Ethical anarchy. No rulers.
There's still going to have to be.
No, there doesn't have to be. Why?
Can I jump in, make a little piece? I think, or at least sort of see what I think might be the sticking point. I think Amy is arguing from an
abundance paradigm.
An abundance paradigm that at some point in the future, when we have resolved so much of what needs to be resolved, that we could be in a utopian situation or something very or something very close to it. Back to a somewhat natural, ordered state. And I think that Aaron is arguing from the point of practicality, that the road to what you're proposing is so far and long and unlikely that there might not be a whole lot of point, that might not be a whole lot of value from arguing from that point.
I'm just going to say that I can see how it could happen in 10 years if we get the free energy out and the information to the people. It could happen in 10 years.
I don't think so. Even if free energy was released, I don't think 10 years is enough time to create the number of robots that you speak of to handle all the shitty jobs that people don't want to do.
Oh yeah, I would sort of side with Aaron on this, but
I mean, just from a logistical standpoint, I don't think 10 years is realistic, even if we had free energy today.
From a momentum perspective as well. There's just so much momentum built up already that perspective is a 10-year plan globally. Okay, let me throw something like this out there. I often do mental exercises, mental experiments. And here's one that I think would be valuable for anybody to consider anytime, right? It would be something like this. Imagine that tomorrow you find yourself with anywhere, well, let's say a quarter of the world's wealth in your bank account. And now it's on you to redistribute and fix everything that needs to be fixed. You have all of a quarter of the entire world's wealth would be a substantial resource to work with. Now, how do you actually go about it, person by person, company by company, institution by institution? It's sometimes it takes.
I wouldn't go company by company, person by person. What I would do is I would put out an ad for people who want to experiment with free energy. I would fund them. I would get the free energy out there because I know we can make it happen. And I would also spend a lot of money educating people on what the plan is and getting them enthused and making them any work towards that goal is service, not only service to self, because all these poor people will no longer be living poorly, but also service to others, because everybody will no longer be living poorly. I would spend money on getting a server system up, central backbone. I would start having people, I would advertise and let them know that they can problems on the site. I would have a contest and have for the best site to, open source to report the problems on, where people can check the problems and say that it is highly recommended that everybody check that site daily just to see if they might have a solution to a problem reported. And also, if they see something that's a problem and they don't have a solution, saying, yes, it's a problem. In other words, voting it up so that if you don't have a solution in the local area, it will spread outwards to a higher level and people can work on the problem. And I would put all that together on a global basis. I think that if people understood, and I know there are tons of people who would love to build robots if they had the wherewithal to do it. And anybody that wanted to build robots, we'd find problems through the website that needed robots to solve. And I would put ads out and say, hey, we're going to do this. We need people to build these robots. Anybody interested in doing this? And I'm going to bet I'd have an awful lot of people trying to come up with the best robot for that particular problem. And I'd pay them all, whether they...
And some of them would scam you.
Maybe. I don't care. As long as I get the robot I need. The one that comes up with the best robot wins the big prize. Okay.
I think you put a lot of really strong ideas out there, and I think that all of those ideas are valid even without the quarter of the quarter of the world's wealth, right?
Believe me, I would get rid of money so fast it wouldn't be funny if I had all that wealth.
Well, that's where I think that the that some of the ideas sort of hit a wall, right? If you had a quarter of the world's wealth, then you would get rid of all money. So like that doesn't kind of make a whole bunch of sense, right?
Why doesn't it make sense? Why doesn't it make sense? The point of the whole thing is to get rid of money. That is, we've got plenty for everybody on this planet. We presently produce about 125% of the food we all could eat on this planet, but somewhere between 30 and 40% goes to waste, distributing it by profit and not by need or desire. So we already know we've got plenty of food, and then we've got like vertical farming, which can produce 1,000 times more food in theory. Build it and it will happen. I'm saying we don't need money, and money causes poverty and privilege. It causes oppression. It causes wage debt slavery. It causes intrusion. It causes profiteering, and it causes planned obsolescence, creating the bulk of the waste on our planet.
Well, here's the thing, Amy. You're talking about robots that are doing all the jobs that people don't want to do, while
the necessary jobs that nobody wants to do.
Well, let's just take a microcosm example from what you just said, like vertical farming as an example. Vertical farming first requires a building, a structure. It requires
Right.
all of the materials like plastic pots and PVC pipes and pumps, water
I
pumps.
understand.
Somebody has to manufacture those things.
The
And then,
robots can manufacture them.
well, now you're
But
talking
yeah,
about
okay.
you're talking about solving the world's. If free energy is released, you think 10 years is enough that all the robots can be produced in 10 years that'll manufacture all the products needed and all the housing that's needed and all the transportation that's needed to
I'm
make all
saying-
these things happen. It's just not feasible at all.
I'm not saying that everything will be done in 10 years, but we will no longer have money and we will be well on our way. And we will be governing ourselves bottom up. You know?
Well, it's a beautiful plan, but how do we get the people in power right now to give up their power?
Well, we don't, except we take it away from them. We don't say, hey,
Okay,
give it
guess
up.
what? Guess what, Amy? That requires force.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It requires getting there and the information on how we can work with it.
Hey,
That's all.
I think
It's dug out from under them than anything else. Just taking away their paths to power.
Well, Learn of the Jesuit Order said, I don't have solutions. I just want to expose the bastards. Now, I want to expand on that because without mass awareness, nothing is going to happen. And in order for your plan, or your paradigm to even begin to take shape, it's going to require mass awareness.
I am aware of that, and I understand the desire to show.
It's going to have to start. If you want to do it in a nonviolent way, it's going to have to start with mass disobedience.
I understand.
It's going to require half of the population stop paying
I
taxes.
I don't like the term disobedience because it sounds like what children do.
I know. I don't want to play semantics.
It takes mass withdrawal of consent and consenting to a better way of doing
It's going to require a huge percentage of the world's population to stop paying their taxes and to be willing to go to jail, by the way.
Well, the initial ones will, but one will hit fairly quickly that point at which they can't jail everybody. Okay, even if 10% of us did that, they wouldn't be able to do it. Okay, we need to hit the tipping point. But I'm going to tell you that in order, while we're showing evidence of the problem, it would be a good idea to offer a solution too, because golly gee, if you have a problem and no solution,
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm looking for solutions too.
Don't know what to do. And that's why I think offering this a solution is so important.
Let's not forget that we're talking about wrestling power from psychopathic people who will fucking kill you.
Right. So, can I jump in?
So
can I jump in? One second.
Let me just finish this thought. So even if we had a mass awareness and we had a mass civil disobedience or civil non-consent, and then the jails started filling up because people aren't paying their taxes and they're not obeying the quote-unquote laws, the ridiculous ones, the jails start filling up. And you're right, Amy, they can't fill up all the jails. They'll start building more jails. That's the first thing they'll do. And then when that doesn't work, they will take people out of jail and fucking kill them in mass.
Aaron, I realize that
I mean, we're up against something massive
first.
And evil.
I realize that, and I realize that once they start the violence first, we can react in self-defense ethically.
I think we can do that already. They've already started the violence. They already kill people indiscriminately. They already rape and murder. They already start unjust wars left and right. I think we already have the justification to respond in kind.
Personally, name names. Because unless you can name the names and show the crime, you've got nothing. You know, if you say the Jesuits, the Jews, the Masons,
I think
the
that's
the New World Order, that
Well, how about we start with the last president that started the last war, and we go backwards from there? How about we take George Bush and Bill Clinton and every fucking president that started a ridiculous, unjust war on a false flag, and we start with them and their family and everyone that supported them and lied to keep them in power? How about we start with those people?
Well, as long as you can prove I understand you could probably prove the president.
Yeah, we can prove a lot of those, but it's already been.
But I prove the people who supported them.
That's already been proven. This is the record is already there. We already know who has lied and covered up.
We know we do have overt evidence, but I'm sure there's been a lot more that went on that we didn't see than what we did.
Well, we can only deal with what we know.
Exactly. And as long as but I don't believe in killing. It is unethical. The first law of ethics is do not willfully and without fully informed consent hurt or kill the flesh of another. Lock them up for life. That's cool.
So you don't believe in an eye for an eye?
Well, wait. Locking someone up for life is harming them.
No, it isn't. It is not hurting their flesh. It is not hurting or
absolutely it's hurting their flesh.
No, it isn't.
Absolutely it is.
No, it isn't. How is their flesh being hurt?
We could send them to a re-educational camp.
Like Harvey Weinstein, he was out in 5 days.
The psychopaths,
apparently it only takes 5 days to reform a pedophile.
With psychopaths, there is no reformation. They are the genetic ones. We might be able to save some of the secondary psychopaths, the ones that are created through mind control, through severe abuse, through severe indoctrination, and so on and so forth. The ones that have learned to shut off their compassion, their caring, their empathy.
All right, guys. Well, we're creeping up. We're creeping up on 3.5 hours.
A bit late tonight, so
a few minutes late, sure. Let's see. Let's maybe get into some final thoughts and wrap this up so we don't turn this into an enormous, huge, overly long.
Hey, well,
okay.
At least there's passion and there's heart. I think we've been talking for a while. I think this last bit of conversation is probably an ongoing conversation.
It is.
And a difference of opinion between Amy and Aaron. And hey, this is just out of curiosity, how many years has that conversation been happening?
Almost 3.
Okay, yeah. Almost. So just between the two of you, 3 years, and you still kind of disagree. So I'm just saying, 10 years to fix the whole world with free energy. I'm just saying that's. I love the sentiment. I love the passion that you're coming with, right?
Yeah, Amy and I could do a whole show just to her and I on this one subject.
I do not doubt it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna side with the idea of a mass awakening to what's really going on, as to the best of everybody's ability. Because I'm thinking that the vast, like, if there was really, really radical change, all of a sudden, not half the people, the majority of people, no matter how shitty life was and how shitty the world was yesterday, they're gonna sit around going, where did my world go? I miss it. I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. So it's a gradual unfolding kind of process, and I think that's actually far more interesting as a proposition. It gives us a lot to do and a lot to work on. and the, you know, good work is its own reward. I'll leave it at that.
Henry, final thoughts.
All right, final thoughts. I'm holding my 2-year-old right here. She doesn't want daddy to. She needs her daddy time right now. So make it quick. And I appreciate what you guys been doing, man. I mean, I see that you guys have passion. I know you guys have love for each other. That's why you guys do what you do. And especially like Bart, man, we're all in the same boat. As long as we can discuss and not, you know, kind of bring it to a different level, meaning like argument or fussing at each other, we'll expose what is really happening in this world. And that's the Ephesians 5:11, you know. I say keep fighting, you guys. I'm gonna keep you guys posted on I'm gonna keep you guys posted with the what I'm gonna do over in Texas if I pass by. So just keep me in prayers. Hopefully everything goes smooth over there. I don't want to get in trouble or anything or step any toes. But that's about it, you guys.
Well, good luck with that, man. I wish I could be there with you. When do you think you're going to be making your way out there?
Oh, I'm taking off next week.
Oh, cool, cool.
What's taking you out there? What do you got going on out there that you're going to be there?
Yeah, my grandpa, he's sick, and he has I think tumors in his head. He had some cancer going on. It's spreading and stuff like that. So, man, with the grace of God, man, cannabis, you know, Jesus healed with cannabis in the Bible for Christians that don't realize what he did. And cannabis is a healing oil. So, man, it's doing wonders for him. So
that's good. That's good to hear.
Yep.
Something you might want to take a look at is hydrogen peroxide, food grade hydrogen peroxide.
Okay.
Yeah, take a look at it. H2O2therapy.com. There might be a hyphen in there. Anyway, look it up. I think it might surprise you. And also the cannabis.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Thanks, Bart, for sure.
Right
on. Let me see. Broadsword just said, let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel belted radials, and I won't say anything. Just leave me alone. That's from the quote from the movie Network. Just want to let you know I recognize where that comes from.
Yeah.
So, Henry, we love you, man. We love what you're doing over there. Go hang out with your daughter, and we'll catch you on the flip side, man. We'll have you back real soon. We'll be in touch. Hopefully you approved the Skype thing. Let me see. Did you? No,
I have a hard time logging in, so I'll try right now.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll see you guys later. God bless you guys. Peace out.
Really good to be with you, Henry.
Love always.
Okay. All right. All right.
Love and light, Henry. Be good, man. Bart, we appreciate you. You're a good. I like the way you think. We could go on and on and on and on and on, and we will.
We didn't get to any of the geometry stuff, man. It was like,
I know.
But that just gives us an excuse to try to do it again. And you know what? It's lighting a fire under my big fat booty to get my own thing going. So I am. So I can lead things and I can steer things and I can. So you guys are total inspiration to me. This has been a really, being invited, trying this way of communicating and being with other people, sharing ideas has really meant the world to me. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And before I start crying, getting all weak, pass it back to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, we, on occasion, we do supplemental shows, sometimes on the weekend. I'm really, really, really into the geometry thing. And to be honest, I'm a little burned out on picking apart false flags. I'm kind of getting sick of it. It's pretty easy to look at one of these and just, for myself at least, I can look at it and go, fuck, that's fake. And, I don't even need to go any further. But, I'm out here trying to get other people to see how and why, the details, so that other people can wake up you know, that's why I'm doing it. That's why most of us are doing it. We're trying to wake other people up. But I'm a little burned out on it. And
totally. And I think that I was ready for whatever happened in this show, and that's where we went. And
you know, you said something last week I thought was kind of interesting. A couple of things. You guys were talking about X-Files for a minute, and you said that I wrote it down. You quoted as saying back to factory settings, like you were talking about how every new episode they just don't carry over anything that they had learned. You know what I mean? That they just start all over.
Scully. I was critiquing Scully and how she does not seem to learn.
Yeah, that's. I think that's part of the overall psychological operation on the rest of humanity. People who watch those shows do not have the opportunity to learn how to carry over information.
Right.
It's not just for the show. I mean, this is a phenomenon that happens on all television, particularly the crime, the sleuthy shows, the Nancy Drew type shows, right? The CSI shows. It seems to happen again and again. It's a very common denominator on most, if not all movies, TV shows, movie franchises. That there's no carryover, and it's part of the general psychological training on humanity, because they don't want people to, in their own minds, learn how to learn and how to remember and how to use what they learned and carry it over.
Yeah, it's very sneaky. It's very sneaky.
Yes.
But what it takes is moments where you notice and you call it out. You talk to some people about it. You go, hey, I noticed that too. Oh, hey, I'm not alone in noticing that. Can we build something? Let's do solutions. You know, so I think I like this idea that you're putting forth. Let's do a off, outside of this Friday show and this block. Let's see what we can do to blast some things open, recalibrate, reset things so that we're not going back to default settings, right? And thinking like we got to make the show that we think that we got to make, right? Really look at the show that is like the best show that we could ever make. So, yeah, optimism.
Well, I know you saw the comment that I left you on Skype about wanting to look at the sacred geometry and chemistry.
Yeah. Oh man, I got so much on that.
Let's. Do you have time? Maybe. I'm not going to commit to anything, but just put the idea. Maybe this weekend, if you have time, maybe we could do a little supplemental show and we could go over some of these.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Awesome.
I think I'm sensing that all three of us are probably a bit burned out. So like, in a way, I could say, you know what, I could probably soldier on, do it right now. But I'm 3 hours later than you folks. So yeah.
I'm gonna have it pretty soon.
Let's Skype it up tomorrow morning and see if Saturday or Sunday would work.
All right, man.
Yeah, I'd be really excited to do that.
Cool. Well, thanks to everybody in the chat. We've got a new guy here, Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I appreciate the input. And I'm probably not going to go through the whole list of everybody that was here, but we have Lady Zaga and Broadsword and Blue Blood made an appearance. He is late to the game. Learn of the Jesuit Order. Thanks for your input. Figure It Out Together. I think I've seen her a couple of times. Big P was here, and Big P99 and Allison Twist. And if I didn't name your name, it's Pam Z. If I didn't name your name, it's not for lack of trying. I love you guys. I love you all. Amy, Ian, we missed you.
Love always. Yeah, Misty and
So
very
I just want to
much.
remind people that Bart has a website. It's bartomon.com. It's thebartomon.com. And you can go check out his work over there. Interesting stuff, and some really nice looking art over there as well. And thank you for your
Yes,
time.
indeed.
Thanks everybody in the chat, and we will catch you guys next week. And we don't have an outro, so we're just going to go ahead and kill it right here.
We could just hum it. Y'all want to do like a trio humming the outro?
All right, you guys.
Okay.
Much love and light, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, y'all.
Love
Bart, we'll
Holly.
talk to you on Skype.